Okay, so we got everything squared away. Sorry about that. Used the bathroom, had to get out the trash, and also I just lost signal, so I'm just doing a lot. So we also had we had a lot. So we're getting out of all the topics and everything. I'm also joined by a co-host, girl who does not like controversy, but definitely likes to cloud watch controversy. Creative Solutions. How you doing there?
I'm doing good. How are you doing?
Quit trying to use that effeminate shit. You know damn well you don't talk
Why
like that. Like you
are
can get
you
the fuck out of
talking
here with that
about?
shit. Get the fuck out of here with that damn shit, man. You know damn well trying to come in all like you don't even talk like that. So stop.
Why did you say I like to cloud watch? Is that
You
what
do
we
cloud
doing
watch.
now?
You do that a lot.
Yeah, I'd be looking at the damn, these people going down a whole rabbit hole. Good thing I left that. You know what? I'm proud of you, BMT, because you have shifted your content. So I give you 10 thumbs up. No more of going on your panel and having a yelling match about child support. Whew.
Oh, thank you, thank you, thank you,
Do you
thank
remember
you.
those days?
Yeah, that's yeah. I do, I do, I do. It is a very interesting talk. Um, and so I'm looking at that of today on the conversation. Did or does did the wall ever exist? Hang on, let me make sure I grab that for a panel. But let me ask you: did the wall ever exist? Let me actually use that question. Did you ever yeah? Does the wall exist?
I don't think so. I never thought it did. I don't like it when we put caps and barriers against somebody or we trying to put another human into a box. Like, I don't think the wall exists. I think we are limitless. And yeah, I don't think we
Mm,
should view other people like that. Yeah, I just don't like the whole idea of it. And
mm,
this goes for men and women. There's people dating people who are younger and older of both
mm.
sexes.
Now, do you feel like the wall, like because for me, I never knew what the fuck a wall was. I never knew what the shit that people come around and saying that you're at your peak or this is it or nobody's gonna want you. I never knew what that shit was. It was all weird jargon talk to me. I feel like people who say that are full of shit, you know, uh, because they're not being realistic about it. Um, my thought process is there never was ever such thing as a wall. Never was any such thing as a wall. Um, it's not that of something that's done by age or size or it's just whatever. I guess people make up that made it up, but there was never such thing as the wall. Because
Yeah, there's no such thing as a wall for both sexes. I think people do that to put the fear. This is the fear box. You're turning this age. It's that time. You're probably gonna be having babies. It's gonna be hard for you. It's that. Oh, you're about to be 70. Death is around the corner. That's I don't just like really. It's for fear. It's to install fear into people and to make them settle for garbage.
right, I mean, I can understand that. Somebody shout out to Class Ruby. She says I disagree. I think that's a false question. Of course, the wall exists. I don't know IMHO. The real question is to what extent does the wall matter? It doesn't matter because it can't can't say something it doesn't matter, but it exists.
Exactly.
Can't say it doesn't matter, but it because it doesn't. It never existed. Like you can have it where somebody who's old but has a young, bigger, invigorated mind, and a younger person like, damn, I'm feeling this person was good. That shit happens. You can have it where a young person, they're young. In my honest opinion. Oh, thank you. Um, like I said, it's open panel. It's open panel, Ruby. So anybody can just come up and vibe. It's no, you know what I'm saying? We're just chilling. I'm saying that these social media, the social media, uh, I don't know, Disney fantasy. Uh, if she's fat, nobody will want her. But we've seen that latterly different, that big people out here having babies all the time. Uh,
Exactly. They get
uh,
wifed up and have boyfriends.
wifed up and everything. Shit. I mean, I don't know what these niggas are talking about. Same thing as um I used to watch these show. I used to watch a show that used to come on Fox where strange and unusual people. It would be like the hairy man who has hair all over his body has some normal looking girlfriend, or some woman that can have like three pussies and she has a husband. And I'll be like, how the fuck did this person? You can't tell somebody what their temperature of what they want to deal with, because that's your. There was a movie called Shallow Hal. It was with Shallow Hal was with not Jason Black. Fuck, he played Bowser. Um, I'll figure it out. But the thing about it was, we've been seeing all these movies from the 80s to the 90s of telling people, hey, don't just look on the outer side of somebody. You should look at the good side of them, or what's inside of them, or what you like, or follow your heart and your dreams. And so, why were people always playing a narrative of choose what your heart desires, but then you have a wall talking point? That would mean you're setting up that this is the standard that me and creative should go by. I could shoot my shot at creative all day long, but if there's an older dude, maybe he's driving like a nice a Ford or a Chevy, whatever. He dresses nice, or he's funny, and I'm like, well, damn, why you like that old nigga rather than me? And I was creative's like, what you mean? I like him. He makes me feel happy. What am I supposed to say about that? Nigga's 47 years old. You know what I'm saying? She's in her early 20s and 30s, but she want that older nigga. I can't stop it. It is what it is. Same thing. I dated a woman. I was 20. I was 19 going on 20. She was 44 years old. She was 44.
Yeah, she should have known better.
What does she need to know better about? What does she need to know better about?
I don't know. That's just really weird.
Why is that weird? She was 44. I was
Because
19.
she's like 30 years older than you.
So what? I was happy. She was happy.
I don't know. That's just weird. Because
So
it's like,
what it
what do you guys have in common?
well, what did I have in common with her?
Yeah.
At the time I was a manager of a grocery store. I love going out traveling and driving. I love to travel, drive, shooting. She liked to shoot guns. She liked to travel. Um, at the time I was just doing my own thing. I was
But
free creative.
what made you attracted to her?
She had this. She carried herself where One, I remember she came in. She had a cowboy boots, um, cowgirl booty shorts, and a ripped up T-shirt. And she's like, "Hey, handsome, you want to play pool?" And she had green eyes, a black woman with green eyes. Lord have mercy. Yeah, she had gray hair, but it didn't matter. We just played pool, and she ordered some ribs, and we drank some beer and played pool. And she was just cool. She had good conversations. She was up to par with politics and media, and definitely was very intriguing. So, could you fault me that I liked her conversation? That we had the same interest on talking about religion, politics. She kept herself up well, smelled really nice. A lot of people say, "Well, what did y'all have in common? Y'all are this, that, much." I'm like, "Well, shit. The stuff that we talked about was enough for me." Now, would people side eye if it had been a man, 44 years old, dating a 19-year-old girl? We think people would side eye that? They'd be like,
Y-
"Damn, bro, you can't."
Yes,
You no, they wouldn't. But like
both of them.
they've been older men have been dating younger girls for how long now?
I wouldn't necessarily. The only thing I would ask is like, what attracted you to that person? And if you say it was the conversation, you like them because of them, and you like the way they treated you, then I would have been like, okay,
So
that was my only question. To just
right, no, that's fine. That's fine. But have you? But I'm saying that you can't tell somebody like I think that's the thing. Perceived. That's the perceived perception. One, there are a lot more, and I want you to understand this. There's a lot more black men who are dating or dealing with women older than them. But people don't want to talk about that. People don't want to talk about that. There's a lot of older men trying to be daddies to young girls and shit. I want to know what the fuck that's about.
that's
Just
weird.
like, just like you got a lot of young women. Listen, I like this nigga. He's more mature. He got his money. I've heard that all the time when I was trying to date younger females, younger women.
Okay, I got a question. Would you allow your son to date an older woman who was in her 40s?
If that's
Like
is he old enough? Is he mature?
when he's like 18, 19 years old.
Is he old enough? He's mature. What am I supposed to do if he's old enough, mature, and he's moved out the house? How am I supposed to stop that?
You right, you can't do nothing about that.
Exactly. I'm not gonna. I'm not. I'm like, are you happy? Are you? What's going on, bro? I'm like,
Yeah,
you
that's
do know.
what yeah, I agree with
I
you
ain't about to
just
lose.
said
I ain't about
there.
to lose my mind.
Yeah. I would ask the questions like, is this really somebody who you want to date? I'm just asking because of the age difference. That's the only thing I would be asking because if you're 18, 19, necessarily you want to go out, you want to party, you want to have a good time. You probably got school or you going to college. You're not really into, the whole bills, family, and all that stuff. Yeah, you're still trying to find yourself. And then
Okay.
somebody who's in their 40s, they already found themselves. They already
Okay.
settled in.
That's fair. That's a fair outreach. Angry Snowman says, um, I dated a 21-year-old when I was 16, and nobody really said anything about it.
But that's not much of an age difference.
I give it. I
16.
right. Like so. In your talking point about that, there are some men who tell women like so. There are some men that tell women like, listen, I'm not trying to have a baby. I already got this. I drive truck. I do X, Y, and Z for myself. I'm not looking to have no kids right now. And the girl be like, shit, okay, cool. You know what I'm saying? You helping me pay my cell phone bill or take care of whatever little shit I got going on. Hell yeah, I'll rock with you.
Okay,
I know.
that's good. That's an equal exchange if it's like that.
Okay, but see, and mind you, the stuff, the talking points I get people want to have that are more polished and cleaned up and shit, they're okay. But in the greater thinking diatribe of reality, ain't nobody saying all that shit. They don't start saying that shit until the cracks of the crevisphere start happening. Like all this shit that we hear on YouTube, high value, red pill, all these talking points, all this shit. Nobody says this shit outside of social media. Nobody talks like this. You say this shit at a job, they will fire your ass.
You're right, but I'll just ask these questions because I remember when I was in the military and I was young. I was probably like,
Speak on it.
18. I was probably like what, like 18, 19.
Okay.
And
I'm
I
sure
was
you had
dating
some older men hollering at you.
yeah, and at one point I was dating this guy. He was like 29,
Mm.
30, right?
You being a little
And you
fast
would
lane.
you would you would think a man who's 29, 30, and I was young. I just got out of school or whatnot. So I didn't really know myself like that. So I was very susceptible to things. So I would say that much, right? And I was dating him, and I didn't even pick up on some cues. Like he would act like he likes me, he would text me and act like he likes me. I kind of felt like he was like in the like you guys say, like I felt like he was kind of like a red pill, like somebody who's been hurt. But I didn't pick up on that. I was like, oh, he's older, he has his own car, he got his own place. I was looking at all those things as a standpoint of a masculine, right? But
Okay.
nah, that dude was like very mean when I got to know him. Like it was hard for me to be myself because I don't know what was wrong with him, but I guess I made him feel inferior or something. I don't fucking know. I was so young at the time, and I remember one time we went to Chili's on base, and he was like, "I'm paying my own fare. You got to pay your own food." And I was like, I thought we was like going out. And it was so many red flags that I overlooked. And
Mm.
it's just because I was young. I felt like I was trying to prove myself to him.
But see, you
And
needed to go. But see, here's the thing about it. Here's the thing about it. You
uh-huh.
needed to go. You needed to go through that so that
Yeah.
way you could get to the next level. Like I said, I've dated women that I've done things for. You know what I'm saying? Hey, I helped you out with your phone bill, but you don't call me. Hey, I helped you do this, or I did that, and I felt like the same affection of effort I was putting in was not reciprocated. So I have to understand that. Thank you for putting me through those things, so that way I can understand my tolerance of what I will accept and won't accept. But I don't want to, what I'm saying? Like I had to go through those things. Like it's like running a track meet. You're like, or you remember like how we do a PT test. You gotta at least start running at first to find out what is your run time. Then as time
No,
goes on, what
I understand what you're saying. I ain't finished, but I understand that you got to go through these things, but I'm just saying these are the type of stuff that, young people are acceptable to if they don't have the life experience. I know they need to gain that, but
you don't
think
think
of
older
all
people
the,
ain't susceptible to it also?
you're right, but think about the things that could have happened. What if I would have got pregnant by the dude? You know?
It would have been okay. So let me ask you this: What would have been different if you
What if,
got? What
go
would have
ahead.
been different if you got pregnant by the older? What would have been different if you got pregnant by a young guy?
You're right.
Because I mean, a young guy could have done the same shit. I mean, you could have told him that, oh yeah, like soon I started dating him. I mean, everything was cool, and then when I started dating him and giving him the box, he switched up on me. Or, the minute I told him I was pregnant, he switched up on me. Boom. Same thing with an older woman. Same thing with a woman. An older woman
Yeah.
so badly could keep blowing up the phone to this nigga, and he damn, I'm helping this nigga get his credit together, get clothes and shoes. This nigga still out there running the streets.
Um,
He don't want to be in the home.
you
Like I
know,
said, you can do everything right. That's not going to make that motherfucker still want to fuck with you.
yeah. But hold on, I ain't finished telling my story. So yeah, I was
Go
dating him
ahead.
while I was in the service. And I was in Japan at the time. And I some of the things I really regretted. Really the things I really regretted from dating with him because I had met this other guy in Japan and he was what half black, half Japanese. But he was such a
Mhm.
sweetheart to me and he was so nice and I would just hang out with him and we would talk. But at the time he had a girlfriend and she was on base and she used to treat him like crap. And I used to be like, I'm not getting in between that. So, we could just be friends and we can hang out and we can chill because we just vibe together. Like, I respected him, he respected me, and we had our boundaries, but we were just really cool with each other. It was one time I think he was working at the bar in Japan. And in Japan you get paid a lot of money for working at the bars, but you only get paid once a month, but you get a lump sum of
Mm,
money. And it was one
mm.
time I was hanging
Fuck
out with
that.
him and I was talking to the other dude, but other dude was like, acting crazy. I think he got mad at me because at the time I was really young, but he got mad at me because I kept messaging him and I kept blowing his phone up. So, and then at that time I just stopped doing that. And so I would only text him once in a while. And then he got bothered because I wouldn't message him like I used to. So, and I just
Hmm.
started hanging out with old dude. And I was at the bar talking with him. And then old dude, old dude was like, I need to tell you something. And I went up under the roof and then he was trying to tell me he likes me. And the same older guy I was talking to came into the bar, ran upstairs and caught me with the other guy. And then he was mad. But I didn't give a fuck. He still was talking to me. He was like, I don't want to see that happen again. And I'm just like, what?
Yeah, he was trying to cultivate you, like
Yeah.
break you down and then rebuild you into how he saw fit.
And then I broke up with him. I was like, yo, I can't do none of this. And I heard you had a girlfriend, and because I heard he had a girlfriend. And I was just
Right.
like, I'm done. I took him to a bar and I broke up with him. And then,
You took them
so,
to a bar.
no, well, we all hang out with our friends because we were all in Japan. So, when
Mhm.
you get off the ship after work, you head around with everybody and you all go to the bars out there. And I was going to the bar out there. He happened to come along because he was on the ship that I was on when I just got there. He had just transferred to shore duty. So
Right.
he was on shore and I was at sea, but I was in port. So we at the bar, we all linked up. So I'm going to the bar and then I had broke up with him. I was like, I can't do this anymore. I don't want to be the side girl or anything. I was like, I don't think we should do anything. And then he got mad. He was in his feelings. And the dude was stalking me. He was
Mm.
stalking me until
So
he
he had
left
control. So,
Japan.
so he had control thing. Now, okay. So he had control issues.
Yeah. Every time he heard the ship was in port, he will go to the bars and be and we call it the hunch. He would go to the bars and he would park up on the side of the streets and he would be watching me. And there was one time I was at the bar and I was talking to some other guys at the time, and I was out and about and he saw me with this light skinned boy and he went and told me that he saw me with a light skinned boy. And I was just like, why the fuck this nigga care? But he used to stalk me. These people are crazy. And I swear he was just like these people in the manosphere. Like I think he didn't like black women or he had something like he was only dated Japanese women, but then he didn't know how to treat them. I swear to God, if you could define red pill would have been him.
That's pretty deep. We got Wacky. What's going on, homie? Welcome. Late night, does the wall exist? We've been hearing a lot of conversations. You're a man who's well traveled, been abroad. Shout out to you and your content that you've been driving home.
Yeah, what's going on?
So,
What's poppin'? What's up?
what's going on, fam?
I'm chilling. I'm chilling. Hold on. Let me turn this mic up. All right. You can hear me? Am I good?
Yeah,
Hell
we can
yeah.
hear you.
Yeah. But okay, as far as the topic of discussion, right, about, you know, did the wall ever exist? It's funny because the first time I ever heard the term the wall, right, was in 2017 on Facebook. And
Mm,
when I heard of that term, based on how it was defined at the, on some on somebody's post on Facebook, it
hmm
was defined as a female who was that a female who can no longer give birth. So it was defined as something biological when a female grows to a certain age to the point of the fact that her body is no longer able to produce the eggs to give birth. But then as years pass by, I would see people on Facebook and even on YouTube. They'll take pictures of a female celebrity when she was in her 20s back in the 80s, right? But then now, years later, when she's older, she looks older. You could tell she's older, and they'll show a picture when she's older years later and turn around and say, ha, she hit the wall. Ha. I'm like, hold on for a minute. I see this definition of the wall starting to be starting to change now. It went from a biological thing amongst females to then poking fun of females who just age and got older. To me, that doesn't make any sense because when you have these males who start to put a picture of when a female was young back in the 1980s to putting another picture of her today when she's older and start laughing saying she hit the wall because the females may be in her 50s or in her 60s. And of course, when people age, they look starts to they don't look the same than they did when they were younger. But my thing is this: while you have black males laughing at females who look different when they're older, the thing is, by the looks of it, a lot of black males are not even guaranteed to live to see their 50s and 60s, being that black males in America, unfortunately, have the shortest lifespan amongst all demographics of people. Do you know that really it's a miracle for a so called black male today to live to see their 70s? It's almost like a miracle.
Yeah, so the standard lifespan for a male in the US, especially a black male, is to age 72.
Okay, age 72. Oh, I thought it was
I
younger
would,
than
de-
that.
I would
Oh,
definitely want to say that there is definitely a climate shift. Oh, we got some other guests. Um, I would definitely want to say that we do have a shift. Because back then, you went with the best option, even though it wasn't. You went with the most survivable intention. Like I said, I got with a 44-year-old that could match me talking about politics, society, every X, Y, and Z. Yeah, she was older, but shit, she approached me saying, "Hey, you want to eat some chicken and play some pool?" And we just started talking. I'm trying to tell you right now, man, a lot of people that keep saying this wall shit are not actually realistic. They're not realistic in this shit, man. Growing up north in New England, it was nothing to see an older person shacking up with a younger person. That was not unusual. But I digress. Hey, it's the social media that we're on. What's going on? I'll be that news. What's up?
It's me. Um, how you doing, B.M.T?
What's up? How you doing?
Well, it's my birthday. Other than that, fine.
Happy
Um,
birthday! Happy birthday! Happy birthday!
Happy
thank you,
birthday.
oh,
thank
happy born day.
you,
Happy born day.
thank you, Rocky. Nice to see you. I
I
haven't
thought your
seen you in a long
birthday was
time.
in I thought your birthday
Hmm?
was like in late August or something.
It's
Late.
August 2nd, so it's yesterday.
Oh, okay.
Yesterday. Yeah. So, but I have like a whole birthday season, so it lasts for a long time. So you might have heard me talk about my birthday season at the end of August because it was still my birthday at that time. That might
Okay.
be what you're thinking of. Yeah. Um, but I wanted to speak on this wall thing, especially because, hey, listen, I just had yet another birthday and I'm past the wall if we were stereotyping the wall as like this specific age. And I think this is part of the issue is that the way that the state of Manitoba talks about the wall is false. So I'll give everyone that because it doesn't make sense. It's not like you wake up and, ooh, you're 35. And then, the day you turn 36, that's it. You ain't shit anymore. Like, no, obviously not. Right. But like there really is like a time, and I mean we've all kind of seen it where you're kind of an adult and you're an adult attractive looking woman and you kind of just stay there for like a long time. You might be getting older, wiser, more mature, whatever it is, right? Changing, but you kind of stay at the general level of I'm just an adult woman, for a while, and then you kind of hit the wall. That's why they say it's the wall. You kind of hit the wall and suddenly youth is not on your side anymore and it's obvious. Like that doesn't mean you're not attractive. It just means you're not young and attractive looking anymore, right? Now you're not just a woman and you could be any age. Now you are a mature woman, right? And does that mean,
Hmm.
oh, you suddenly have no options or da da da? Again, that's what the manosphere or these biased sectors do to like this idea of the wall. But is the wall this idea that literally we do eventually hit an age where youth is just not on our side and we just can't pull that same aura that we used to. It's a new era. You now have to be the mature woman. And is that's fine. There are men who find that attractive. But is your dating pool smaller? It is. Once you hit that wall, right, your dating pool is smaller. And that's also fine because you're probably a little bit wiser. You're a little bit more of what you want, what you need. You're a little more established in life and as a person. So it's probably a little easier to not need all that male validation, attention, all those people hitting on you in order for you to feel like a person. Whereas you
Hmm.
kind of need it when you're, I'll say, a little bit younger. So I think that's where when I said I'm like, I think it's a false question to ask if the wall exists because does it exist a time where you look at someone and they're young and they could be anywhere from, I don't know, 19 to 35 or 40 and you just can't tell. And then one day for sure she's not under the age of 40. Like you just know, right? Or she's for sure not under the age. You just know because you see those signs of aging that only come with time, and she's no longer young. She could no longer pass for young. Yeah, absolutely. I think the real question is how much does the wall really matter? How much of an effect is this wall really having on women's options, on women's viability in the sexual marketplace?
1,000%.
Hmm?
But let me say this. Let me say this. Is
Go ahead.
I mean, this is the thing. Why the hell are we going to use a term called the wall? It's just aging. That's all. That's all it
Because they
is.
Uh-oh.
they try to put down people who are aging, especially
Well,
women.
I'm asking a rhetorical question, but I get it. I'm asking a rhetorical question because to me it just doesn't make sense to just put
What makes
this
sense to me?
what you call this what word am I looking for? This damn uh god damn this metaphor called the wall. It's just simple aging.
It
This
makes
happens
sense to
to
me. No,
everybody.
it's not. I'm going to explain why, because it actually makes perfect sense to
It's
me.
aging,
Um,
but
no,
go
but
ahead.
it's not. That's the thing. We're always aging. We've been aging our whole lives. Since the day you're born,
So
you're
Exactly.
aging, right?
why is the wall what is this?
Well,
It's just
again, this is why I think it's an effective metaphor, and I'm about to explain why I think it's an effective metaphor, because we're aging our whole lives. Every single day of our lives, from the day we're born, we're getting older, right? Getting older. It's kind of like when you look at a newborn, right? And then one day the newborn stops looking like a newborn, and suddenly now they look like an infant. And then when a baby stops looking like a baby and starts looking like a toddler, and then toddlers start looking like young children, and young children start looking like little tweens, and we see that, right? There's like a wall. It's literally a wall because just yesterday, they looked like little babies, and now they look like little people, and you're like, what the hell, right? It's
Yeah,
like,
but we don't call it
hold,
the wall. We call it the
right,
20s. your
Yeah,
30s, your
but
40s.
again, I was gonna explain because I'm glad that you're following me though, so you've gotten that far, so you're kind of tracking. So that's why. So we're always aging, right? And we know though that these perceptual changes that happen, right? They do kind of happen all at once. Suddenly one day you are perceived as not being a child but being a teenager, or not being a teenager but being a young adult. It happens pretty suddenly. It doesn't gradually happen over time. It's just one day your perception is different. Well, why do we call it the wall? Because when you're thinking about every other age up until this moment in time, where let's say you're 35 to 45, right? It's the first time in your life where objectively you would be considered old, right? This is why we're calling it the wall and why they call it the wall. And it feels like it's like hitting you because it's the first time in your life that you're going to have one of those, all of a sudden you're shift and, people perceive you differently all of a sudden. And it's not a good thing. It's a negative thing because it's never happened before that age where you start looking older, like you start looking old, right? It's always a positive thing that you get older, right? Because you still don't look old just because you got older, right? You don't look like an old person just because you now look 13 instead of looking 7, right? So this is the first time that this perceptual change happens. It's after a very long period of time in our lives, normally from the time we turn about 18 or 19 until the time we're in our 30s or even early 40s. And then suddenly, very suddenly, wow, everything we've ever known about our adult lives and about the way people see us in our adult lives is very suddenly different, and it's not a good thing. And it's the telltale sign towards you're heading towards the end of life. And suddenly the majority of your life is behind you. Suddenly your youth is behind you. Suddenly being able to appear like you're in your youth is behind you, right? And that's normally not a great realization for people to hit, which is why they call it hitting the wall. Right now, what the manosphere has chosen to do with something that existed outside of the manosphere, and it has nothing to do with them, they didn't invent it, is one thing, right? But the reality of that sensation is something that people have been describing for a long time. That's why we have midlife crises, because that's people's reaction to hitting the wall, right? Is the midlife crisis. And
So
that's
that's a
why
better word than saying hit the wall. Like, do you believe in that term? Do
I
you feel
literally
that?
told I've been saying constantly, never endingly since I got here that yes, I absolutely do.
But
Yes.
but Ruby, you
I,
know what you just broke down is
Mhm.
actually just the definition of just simple aging.
But
That's
again,
all
it's
it is.
not.
That's all it is aging. And listen, I don't see how some people will see that as a negative thing because if someone if a when a or if a person lives long enough to see their elderly years, that's a blessing. That means you've lived long enough, experienced a lot of things to grow in wisdom. I mean, Ruby, you mentioned that, so I don't see how that's a negative thing. I don't see how that's an to me, just simple aging, and that's a good thing. And if people sees you, and if people perceive a person as being an elder or being an older person, to me that's a blessing, because when people perceive another individual as an elderly person, what comes with that a lot of times is a certain level of reverence. How is that bad? I don't see how that's a bad thing, but at the same time, I don't see that that's a wall. I look at it as just aging. This is just normal part of life. You will age. It's just like any living thing. Any living thing will age, and when it age, it goes through different processes where physically it'll look different. I don't look at that as a wall. I just look at it as aging. That's it.
But you don't have to. Like you as an individual person don't have to look at it as a wall,
I
for
know,
everything
I
that I
know I don't
said
have to.
to be
That's
a
obvious.
reality.
Go
And
ahead.
here's the thing: most men, first of all, you're not even at the age where you objectively look like an old man. You're just not. You haven't hit that part of your life where
see,
you've hit
now you
aging
judging
to a
Ruby.
point. No, because I've seen him, right? So I know you haven't hit that point of your life where aging is more than just, oh no, this is just regular aging. You just get older day by day.
Ruby,
Wait, hold on,
Ruby.
hold on. Let me finish. Let
Do
me
you
finish.
know?
Let me
Do
finish.
you
Let me
know?
finish.
Do
Let
you
me
know
finish.
my
Let me
age?
finish. Just let me
Do you
finish.
know
Let
my
me finish.
age?
It doesn't matter. That's my point. It doesn't
It
matter what your age is, and that's why I started off
it
by
does
saying
matter because you're going to
no. It
say I
really
haven't hit
doesn't,
that
because
age
that's
yet.
why I started
See,
off by
no
saying
such thing as the
no.
wall.
That's why I started off by saying that when people pick some arbitrary age, like say 35 or 45, and pretend that that age matters, it doesn't. It's not about a particular age, because people age, as we say, at different rates, right? It has to do with not only your own perception of yourself, but the world's perception. One day you will wake up and you will look in the mirror and you will go, holy crap, I'm old. And people will do the same thing to you. And so you are no longer just an aging adult, but you look about the same age as everyone else. You're just in your middle adulthood. You will suddenly be in your later years, right? And now, is that as traumatic to men? It's not. Why is it not traumatic to men? Well, because men are not judged by their youth and beauty the way that women are judged by their youth and beauty. And women are told that they are not viable, right? And once they're no longer viable, right? Once they don't have more eggs, once people don't judge them as being young because youth is the only value you have. So it's very traumatic and it hits like a ton of bricks,
So
aka the wall.
So is that
It's a
so is that
realization.
specific? Hold on. But if that's the case, Ruby, is that female's fault for being gullible and dumb enough to buy into that dumbass shit? Excuse my
No, that's a
language.
silly thing to say.
Yes, it
We are
is.
we are
Yes,
also
it is.
no, we are all socialized and cultured like this from literally before the moment of conception. We are all cultured like this. We are all
And it's your
socialized like this. So it's not
and it's your
gullibility.
responsibility to
No, it's not.
understand what you've been. Hold on, Ruby. It is your responsibility to understand that some of the things that you've been cultured to believe is false. And if you don't come to that conclusion, then hey, that's your problem.
You can't come to a
I
conclusion that
agree
doesn't
with
exist in the
Rafa.
history of humanity. And that's why no matter how much women, feminists, whoever talk about these things, and they talk
That's the
very
whole.
freely and openly about these things, guess what? All women still suffer from these insecurity and it still hits like a ton of
So
bricks. Again, hence the wall. So it doesn't matter
so
That's
whether or not
not a
you think that
wall.
it's not
That's
right.
not a
It's about how
wall.
you
that's
perceptually
Yeah,
feel
that's a
about
that's
it.
not a
Yes,
perception.
wall.
that's
That's a
literally what a wall
perception.
is. When
That's
something
not no
hits you
wall.
like a
That's just
ton of
That's
simple
bricks
not a.
aging.
and it
That's
stops you
what
like a
I'm
ton
saying.
of
Like
bricks,
that's
that is
not
the
a
wall.
wall.
That's just simple aging.
That's
Yeah,
It's
that's
just
a
literally not just
aging.
simple
perception.
aging because you age a little bit every single day, your
Exactly.
entire life. Right. And yet
And
somehow or another, this realization that you have gone from not when you're a teen to a young adult doesn't hit you like a ton of bricks, does it? No, it doesn't stop you. It doesn't make you start feeling like, oh my God, I might be worthless, or oh my, when you start questioning your own mortality, you start questioning your own relevance in the world, you start questioning all your life decisions. Does that happen? No, it doesn't, right? There's a very perceptive, it has a lot to do with your own perception about your own mortality, about the reality that, you know what, you've lived more than half your life. There's a lot to it, right? Everyone wants to fight against the wall because the manosphere tries to use it as
There
a weapon
is
against
no
women
wall.
to try
There
to get
is
young
no
women
wall.
to feel like they should be marrying old, decrepit losers when they're like 19. I get it, right? I'm not saying, and I keep saying that the way that the manosphere has been using the wall and weaponizing the wall isn't correct, right? But the concept of the wall is a very valid concept, and it exists way before the manosphere
It's
ever
not
got
a
like
valid
created.
concept.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah.
Oh,
It's
you're
not
right.
a
You're right.
valid.
You know what? You guys are going to invalidate a psychological concept that has existed
Yeah,
for
yeah, we do.
yes,
We
we
like
do.
do.
100
He
years.
said
Yes,
Yes,
We
Adrian.
do.
yes,
it makes more sense. Yes.
yes.
We did. We did. We listen.
And
It because society, people have been rejecting the claim, just like we said earlier. If I a 19 or 20-year-old was
Hmm.
talking to a 44-year-old, we're enjoying each other's company, we're doggone having a good time, we're going out X, Y, and Z. Oh well, she's too old, and just like me, creative asks a simple question. Well, B.M.T, you've grown at that point. So what the fuck can I say to you? Nothing. But I am a grown adult. I am knowingly choosing that choice. And guess what? If I so choose to get fucked up, it's up to me to say, you know what? This ain't gonna fit. Same
Okay,
thing,
so
same thing. Now, same thing as a young lady. Damn, we heard plenty of young girls say, you know what? I'd rather date an older nigga than a younger nigga. Then all of a
okay,
sudden, hey,
so
why just so hold up, but hey,
why
but
are
that
you
guy literally
defining the wall by who's willing to date you? See,
hold on,
this manosphere has
wait. So
y'all
wait,
fucked up because
so now we're
you all
looking
are
at
defining
people.
key moments in humans' lives by who's willing to date you and what age
So
those people are who are
You
wait,
willing to
wait.
just
date you,
So
talked
and
about it. You just
that's not
talked
correct.
about looks. You just
we
talked
just
about
Did I talk
somebody
about dating?
aging.
Did I talk
hold
about
on, but
dating?
hold
But
on,
that's what that
wait.
pertains to.
No,
It
But
pertains
honey,
somebody,
to.
but
that's the
they're
mistake you
choosing.
made, not me. I didn't make
actually,
Why
that
can't?
you
But
mistake.
did
why?
talk
But
about
why can't we
dating. You
understand that
did.
people are choosing? Why can't we understand that
Mhm.
people are going to choose? That's no different than you can. We hear these
Right,
people
but
talk
I
about,
didn't
oh
say
man,
they're not. It has nothing to do with anything that I said. I literally said that is one of the many, many ways that the manosphere chooses to misuse and weaponize a concept that really existed way longer since they've been around.
Okay.
And I've
Can
literally said
you
that that's
find
a
that
way that they
concept
choose
in a
to
book?
misuse it.
I
Could
want
you?
to see
Yeah,
that concept in a book.
yeah. I would like to know
Yeah,
when. I need
actually,
to
I
know.
can. Like, literally, many.
I
I
wanted to say the wall. When you find it, I wanted to say the wall.
Okay.
But
Look,
nobody ever says the wall. Like
they
nobody
literally
ever says.
do.
There's
No.
nobody say
According
like.
to
The only
Ruby, it's
So,
been
time,
so you
around
guys
for a
really
long
think that the
time.
manosphere invented the wall?
hold on. The only time when
No,
I
we
heard
saying
of
that there ain't never been such
hold,
thing as the wall.
hold on, let me hold on. Let me
Oh.
say this. Let me say this. The only time I've literally heard about someone utilizing a wall as a metaphor scientifically is when they speak about athletes and their bodies. Is that once an athlete is so active to a point where their bodies just shut down on them because they're tired, is considered hitting the wall. But I
That
You talking
is,
about
that's
their
the
peak?
only time
You
when
talking
I've
about their
heard it.
peak? You talking about their peak?
no,
No, no,
it's
not even that.
literally
Not
the
even that.
wall.
It's just when a professional athlete is just, or maybe an amateur athlete is busy competing and their bodies get real tired to the point of the fact that it shuts down temporarily. So doctors would nickname that hitting the wall and they need to recharge and rest. That's the only time where I heard that metaphor being used scientifically. I never heard in any other place outside of the manosphere and outside of that where people have used the wall. You know, I personally never heard that, but
Well, see, I guess again, I've heard of it, and again, I've heard of the studies about aging because I've taken a few classes, psychology classes specifically on aging. And so again, this idea, and this is where I'm like, I could say, for example, it applies to both men and women. When you're talking about, for example, the midlife crisis is a reaction to what? Right? I mean, again, I'm not like again, we can pretend that I'm
Wait, what they got to do with the
promoting
wall?
whatever dumb shit that the manosphere is saying about women after this age don't get picked, because that's not what I said at all. In fact, I literally said
We didn't say.
again that is a false weaponized way of using a concept that is really real. And part of the reason why it's real is because of hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years where no, we have not built cultures and societies that look at our agedness, right, as something that is desirable. That's something that, you should be like, upholding, or as you get older and older and older, oh my God, I should worship that, I should whatever, right? Like there's like a modicum of respect you should be able to demand at best. That's what most of our cultures say these days, right? At best, you have to call them Mr. or Mrs. or whatever and be a little respectful. But that's about
Young
it,
dudes
right?
still want to
We
fuck
throw away
Angela
our
Bassett.
elderly. We throw
Young
away the
dudes.
elderly. We disrespect the elderly. We
Why y'all keep
disrespect their
trying to do
wisdom.
that? Why y'all keep trying to
We
do that?
disrespect their wisdom. We disrespect the studies that they've conducted. We disrespect everything that they do. And we say, oh well, new school, new era, new rules. Fuck y'all. That's what we do to people from ages past that worked really hard for decades to study
If we
human
threw
behavior,
away the
history,
elderly, if we threw away the
society.
elderly, then we wouldn't have a Senate and all them goddamn speakers sitting in the House. If we were throwing away the elderly, how the fuck are they still in that damn building? Because they
Really?
surely ain't going.
Old folks'
Yeah,
homes, honey. People
some of
throw
them.
away their elderly and abandon them in
Y'all
old
don't
folks'
like that
homes,
narrative.
and it's such a problem. It is such
It
a
is. It
problem
is a big
how many
problem.
elderly people get abandoned in old folks' homes. No one checks on them, or in these old
People just
aging
get abandoned, right? Y'all know
hospice
people
care
just get
and
abandoned.
whatever, and they get abandoned. And when do they get abandoned? When they're too old to take care of themselves, when they're too old to be of value and of use. So yeah, no, let's not pretend that that's not absolutely happening, because there are some people in the Senate who are 70. Oh yeah, well, forget all of
Wait,
those really incredibly
Aren't they the
sad
ones
stories
that
and
choose
the
the
whole Medicare
Medicaid
issue.
and
Fuck all of that. Yeah.
wait. Hold up. Aren't those people in that building the ones that choose the Medicaid and the bill and all the provisions that go out?
Oh, wait, I'm sorry. Are you talking about Medicaid, as in your system that's supposed to help care for the elderly, that actually
Well,
doesn't and has had multiple, like the majority of the elderly put out on the street in the last couple of years? Yes. Yes, that system
Okay, but
that
hold on
doesn't
now.
help any goddamn
I
body.
got a
Your
question
brand
now.
new
Hold on.
system that does nothing
I
for the
also have a
elderly.
question.
And guess
Wait,
what?
wait.
Neither is their family, weirdly, right? Because the elderly get thrown away, and that's what people have to look forward to. Or how about people who work for 40 years for a company like, say, Yellow Truck, and then, hey, guess what? They just rip their pension out from under them, throw it away, and oh, well, now you don't have a pension, but good luck. Right, because that's how we treat the elderly. That's how we treat
That's not
people.
been.
Well, they get too old. Now we're not going to hire them in a new job. And oh, well, screw you and your pension. Well, I don't care about you anymore. So, no, absolutely, society treats the elderly, people who are getting, just not even
How about
elderly,
this
just who are
society
getting a
that
little bit
treats
older. We
everybody
treat
like
them like
shit?
shit.
How about it's just we
Yeah,
treating everybody
exactly.
like shit?
But guess what? What's the benefit of being older?
Ruby's
What's
not
the benefit
going
of
off.
not
She's just
having youth?
ranting. She's not
What,
going
what,
off. She's just ranting. That's not
what,
going
what
off.
what's the
So here's the
benefit?
thing. Here's okay. So first off, let's take a breath. But we also have another panelist here. So the thing about it is this: one, me as I get older, and Wacky as he gets older, it's our job to set up our shit as we get older. Not, hey, you family, y'all got to take care of me. No, that is our job to start setting our shit together. I can't tell you how many people in Creative Solution also knows this also, being an ex-military, that you're supposed to be getting your shit together when you're getting out or as you get older. If you're waiting for somebody else or you're banking on other people to pick up the slack for something you didn't do, you're already fucked up. You're already fucked up.
Exactly.
So you weren't listening to what happened to the
Why
yellow
do we always
company.
do?
Okay.
Y'all starting to sound
Mhm.
like them
So
women
you
that
weren't
say
listening.
it's my baby's job
So you
to
weren't
pay my
listening.
bills
Yeah,
and do X, Y.
that's what I
No,
thought.
dude, that is your job as a responsible human being. That
Uh
hey,
huh.
listen, Wacky could be my senior, but if Wacky really gave a fuck, he would already be getting his shit together and say, hey, bro, worry about getting your life together. I got my shit together. I've already got my insurance paid out. I got my stuff taken out. We got people who just are just reckless and did not do right by themselves, and they didn't get their shit together. That's their shit that they are unaccountable for. Like that's the problem, man. Like these people don't want to assume their responsibility. I see these people all the damn time, man. It's just that nobody
Mm-hmm.
wants to accept that they didn't do their shit. Same thing as hey, the wall concept. There, I listen. I work at the American Legion. I see plenty of them dudes come out there with young little tenderonis. I see plenty of the women out there vibrant and doing whatever they want to do. I just dropped the video of all of them out there at a ball having a damn good time.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this wall concept, you can't tell somebody their set standard of how they're going to be out there living. You can't tell them that shit. That's why they say, well, if you don't do this, then you're screwed out of luck. Well, then y'all need to explain them big girls who are out there somehow getting chopped down. Just like a lot of these women, they're choosing a guy. A man can listen. You can offer that woman the world. She still ain't gonna fuck with you. He still rather deal with the slut in the street. And you can be a man that has all your shit together, and rather you deal with a woman that actually sees you and cares about you, you might be chasing after that goddamn Brittany Renner who says, hey, I'm gonna fuck you up, but I'll give you a mean blowjob. All right, shit, I'll take that blowjob for 500. It is what it is, man. Like this shit has been happening since forever, man. It's nothing new. This is not a new concept. It's not something that exists because Hugh Hefner, I mean, well, let's not even use celebrities. People in general are going to do what the fuck they're going to do. This social media talking point, be fit, feminine, and friendly. A lot of these niggas, a lot of y'all mamas are not even fit, feminine, and friendly. They're not even that. A lot of these dudes who talk about back in the day, I remember daddy, your daddy was a pussy. Let's just stop. And it's not me taking shots. We can just look at that as society of the shit for what it is. Like it's definitely showing. It's definitely showing. So the wall concept, people are going to do what they're going to do. We got a brother up here. What's going on, man? Welcome to the panel. We're having a concept. Does the wall concept ever exist? Did the wall ever exist? Yes or no? It's up to you, man.
Yeah, peace from Britain, B.M.T. Thanks for letting me on there. Yeah, this is the first
What?
time I've been there. Yeah, in my opinion, the wall don't exist. I've been banging out against this whole hit the wall theory for years. Myself personally, I think it's a very immature belief that's upheld by men that think like little boys. It needs to be
Uh-oh.
done away with, but unfortunately, people upheld this dumb belief, and yeah, it spread like wildfire here on YouTube. Unfortunately,
Okay, okay. Now now some people say that nah, man, like there is a wall. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like if young women, you have this certain period of time that if you can't find a man, you're no longer good. Or men, if you don't hit this certain amount of money, nobody in society is ever gonna really want to fuck with you. Like I don't know who's making up these fucking illogical rules and shit, but I see older men going back to college. I see women doing, shit. They just living their lives. Like I don't know, man. I feel like these are made up illogical rules, but that's me. People are going to choose whoever they so choose. If I'm at the bar, I see a fat chick, I'm going to holler at her. Y'all may think she's fat. I'll say she's just right for me. I go another day if I feel like getting married and hey man, like ew, she's too older than you. Why do you give a fuck what I'm doing with my penis? I'm paying my bills. I can take care of my kid just fine. Some men, I know one brother, he's about to get married. The girl has 2 kids. He has no kids. I already know. Yeah, B.M.T. He's in the negative. I'm not going to give a fuck because if that man's happy, they got their shit. They, what am I going to say to them? They about to go get themselves a goddamn $300,000 house. What am I supposed to say to that shit? It ain't none of my fucking business. So I don't know, man. Too many sitting around waiting for a hero. No, that is true, boy. That is true. I want to know, like, honestly, do y'all think the wall concept has set back men and women? I want to ask that question, and we could take it around. Um, do y'all think this wall talking point? We can start off with creative. Do you think the wall talking point has set back? Okay, she dropped down, so it's wacky. Let's start it off with you, brother. Then we get it over to my sister Ruby. Do you think this wall talking point has set back men? But I think I already know how wacky feels on this shit. But we gotta know. What do you think, wacky? This whole concept, you think it's setting back the men, or what's up?
Well, I think there's other things that's setting back men, not just this concept. There's just other things that's setting back men, which is, I'll say, for the most part, men online not focusing on actually being politically organized and actually, advocating to change laws that would benefit them, since they're complaining so much about
Mm,
society. But as far as
true.
this war concept, I will not say that the concept alone is holding men back, but what I will say is how the males, especially in this manosphere sector, define the wall. I think they're being very childish, because once again, the way a lot of people in the manosphere, the way I've observed a lot of people in the manosphere utilize the wall, and the context they use it in, they use it to poke fun of females who are in their elderly years. They basically poking fun of people who are aging, when aging is the natural part of life. They
Right.
I see a lot of males poking fun of females who are older and poking fun of how they look, in which common sense would tell you is that when a person ages, they're not going to look the same than they were 20, 30 years ago. So I'm not saying that the concept in itself is holding men back, because there's bigger things that's holding men back. But
Right.
this concept, or the way males on here utilize the term wall, they look very immature. It means very immature for like a 30, 40, 50, or 60-year-old male to poke fun of how a female look just because she's older. That's some immature stuff for a male of that age to do. So I'll just say that the concept in itself, based on based in the context that males is utilizing it right now, makes them look immature when they do that. But I'm done.
Okay. Let's take it over to one of the ladies. Creative or Ruby. The concept of the wall. Do you think it's holding back a lot of ladies and a lot of men from their happiness or just living their life? Whichever one of y'all
Uh,
want to take it.
I'll go first. I feel like it is. I feel like for the men, I feel like it's giving them like a armor or a nudge on their belt because a lot of them, I would say they haven't been working on themselves to be the best versions of themselves. So they feel like they shouldn't work as hard or they should come to the table with half of a table. Like they don't even try or put in more effort, you know? So I
Mhm.
feel like when it comes to that, that's where it's a short stand. And then as far as the woman, and then a lot of women, it could be probably they might feel like they don't measure up. They have low self-esteem. So in some cases, they might pick that man who isn't up to par. So and then it turns into turmoil because both of these people do not have good relationship skills and they don't feel like they are worthy.
Mm. What you think, Ruby?
Well, obviously, this is going to be a theme tonight because I obviously disagree with everybody, and I do not think that
Ruby, go
this
ahead. Stop it, Ruby. Stop being
no, I
bad.
really do. No, I really do. I actually disagree
Why?
with everyone.
Why?
Because I don't think that again, this is like a label that we put on something that it has existed since hunter-gatherer societies. Like the idea of the wall, regardless of whether or not we had that label 1,000 years ago or not, still existed then, right? So the idea that it's holding us back, that we've now come up with yet another label in the last 100 years to describe something that we've been describing all this time, not really holding us back. So then, since that's not holding us back, but we're being held back, then what's the case? Well, the case is that people are being held back over a lot of things, right? They're normally it has to do with self-efficacy or the lack thereof, right? As in they're pretty whatless when it comes to most things, and they don't know how to fix that problem for themselves, and they don't know who to turn to fix that problem, or they don't have resources, because they don't know how to make themselves just do something basic, like I don't know, get up, have a job, whatever. And they
Mm.
hate themselves for it. So what they do instead is they go online and they find some people who are going to tell them something that makes them feel better about themselves, right? Which is in essence to point fingers at other people. Um, Now that's going to temporarily make them not hate themselves. As long as they're online yelling at other people and pointing the finger everywhere else, then they feel better. But then they get offline and then they feel like shit again. That's why they have to come back so soon. Because they know what their reality is and they know what the real deal is, right? Most of the men we're talking about absolutely know they're full of shit, right? And that's why the majority of them, while they sit there and they talk about sex workers and talk dirty about them and say no man would want them, they're all up and paying these women out the wazoo. So many of them, like ones that you know the names of, are paying these women who are sex workers that we know and paying them out the wazoo, right? Because they don't mean anything they're saying. They're just talking shit so they can get male respect, basically, male validation, and they can feel special for 5 seconds. But it's not really changing anything. They're just venting, right? Women are more likely to hear stuff online and go, I should actually do something about myself, to change something about myself, because women are just more proactive that way, for real. So women are more likely to hear, like, for example, oh, I hit the wall, so I should go get Botox to unhit the wall, or I should do this to unhit the wall, or oh, I can't be dating a scrub, so I can't date any guy who's not making this much money, and da da da. Women are more likely to try to hold themselves to stuff like that than men. Men don't really have that follow through. So that's why I don't think it's holding anything back.
I must say this: the wall concept that has been being beaten and berated around like a carcass animal has made men more weak because they're scared to stand 10 toes down on what they so choose that they want. And for women, is giving them an unnatural, unhealthy thinking process of, I had to compete with this young girl. I have to do this with these people. I have to, when just move with what you can afford or what you feel you need to do. Listen, I get it. I see a lot of guys coming around talking about that guy who had the truck and that could get the girls in the truck. I just wasn't the guy who had the truck at the time. I had to ride the bus. So I need to get my shit together. So me worrying about the ran throughs, I can't worry about the rant. Like my dad said, you can't worry about them. You don't got shit yourself. So I understand that these talking points of worrying about the hypersexuality of everybody or how X, Y, and Z is moving. When you got your shit together, you can start choosing what is that you want. That's why some men are freaking out that women are, oh shit, I got my money, I got my own car, I got my own shit together. Nigga, them little Jedi little wall tricks. You can't shame me, nigga. What you don't want, fuck you. Another nigga is going to want me regardless. And that hurts a lot of these niggas' feelings, the little bussy boy feelings. Same thing for a lot of these women. Thinking that, hey, you thinking that you gonna play a Jody move, or what's the movie? What's the movie with Omar Epps when he got with that older woman? When he was a disc jockey, he fucked that girl that was an older woman. There was a lot of dudes who were in that position. But
you talk about juice. You talk about juice,
right? But see, the thing about it is, some of us have to realize, like, yo, in taking that route of getting with the older woman, we never going to really be able to set up our own identity. Just like Creative said, she had a guy she was interested in, but he wanted to be saved. And that's an ongoing battle. Thank you, Hatch. That's an ongoing battle that a lot of men are battling right now. A lot of these men don't want a woman. They want to be saved. They want they want the woman that's going to cook and clean and help raise them or some shit. And I'm like, nigga, what? Like,
So,
no,
so
nigga.
sorry, are you saying that the older men who are younger and date older women don't have a mommy complex and aren't dating those women specifically because they want to be mothered more than they want to be, say, the man of the house?
Let me say that one more time and say it slowly. You do speak fast sometimes.
So what I'm saying is that men who date older women, exclusively, tend to have the mommy issues, mommy complex, and want a mother or a motherer, and want that more mother-son relationship more than they want a relationship that's either on equal footing or where they're the man of the house and, she's the wife or whatever.
Pause. Okay, so let's look at that one. First off, from somebody who's been in a relationship like that, you can't. It is almost damn near impossible. And let's say I am 20 years old. Creative is 35 to 40 years old. Creative already got all her shit together. Ain't no way I can think in my mind I can tell Creative how to run her shit. Nigga, you live under my roof. Hence, nigga, get your shit and get out my house. That has happened to a lot of black men. Has it not, Wacky? They move into the woman's apartment, her house, her car. You listen to Ruby, and guess what happened? They get put out on the street. I was one of those niggas because I thought that, but by the power of my penis, I could just control that situation. I had to learn the hard way. So you're thinking that rather than have your own shit together, you're trying to use the leverage of hypersexuality or your looks or whatever to hopefully that person is going to still want to fuck with you. This is why when a lot of these women get divorced now or get divorced, they go after everything. This is a problem a lot of men do. Stop dating women that don't have shit going for themselves. Because the judge looks at it like, well, you're taking care of her all this time. So now that y'all get divorced, guess what? Why are you bitching and complaining? You were taking care of all the other time. Find somebody that has shit going for themselves. Hey, I got this going on. She has that going on. We can have a split down the middle and move from there. It's a lot. It's harder for her to come after you if y'all both have shit going on. Now y'all both have shit to lose. And see, that's a game that a lot of people don't want to admit. So when I bring up that, a lot of younger dudes that I know, women understand, if I get this one dude that's younger than me, he's not a threat. He's not a threat to me. So the same thing for the flip side for a older man getting with a younger woman. He's getting off the point of, I can teach her my ways, and if she don't listen and comply, just like Creative said, yo, the nigga started trying to bark orders at me, but she had her own money and her own shit. So guess what happened? She said, fuck you, I'm out. He didn't like it that he couldn't control her, and he started trying to become hyper aggressive. So you're having it. The wall shit is no more than a talking point of control. It's a leverage
you're
control.
literally highlighting the point, though. You're highlighting my point.
No,
people are not choosing these people who are over the wall because they find that super sexy, whatever.
No
it's normally some other type of pathology. I don't care. Listen, you know exactly what I'm talking about, and there's a pathology behind it. The pathology, no, because there's a pathology behind it. Again, whether you're talking about the much younger man dating the much older woman, or vice versa, the much younger woman dating the much older man, neither one of those much younger people are attracted to that much older person. They're not. They don't find that sexually attractive, sexually appealing, whatever, right? Why they're with that person is not because of, ooh, this is so sexy and so attractive to me. It's because of some other pathology they have. They have mommy issues, they have daddy issues, they have uselessness issues, they have control issues, whatever it is, right? They're codependent, right? But what it's not is, ooh, that is just super sexy. And normally when people start saying stuff like that, oh, I have daddy things, I think the guy who's 3 times my age is super sexy, they go to therapy and they find out what? They got daddy issues, and it's a pathology because it's not normal. It's not normal, nor is it healthy. It's not normal for there to be that much of an age gap. It's just not. It's actually not normal. It's not normal for us to see people who are outside of their sexual prime as being sexually super sexy because they no longer have those qualities, right? Because their hormones have shifted.
Answer me the question. So hold on. So why was this space? Why was there manosphere spaces pushing for older men to go get younger, sexier women? And
because
if they don't listen, put them out there on the street or kick them to the curb.
Yeah, that's literally again, I'm sorry, are you missing the point that we're both making about the whole control thing? No? Okay. Older people who date significantly younger than them, right? So old women who are dating significantly younger men, or old men dating significantly younger women, are doing that for a pathology again, right? They want control. They don't want to have to be vulnerable. They don't want to have to trust, right? They want to have all of the cards, and they want to have leverage because they think they need leverage because they don't trust themselves, their own self-efficacy, or their own self-worth enough to believe that they could get into a relationship with someone with no leverage and that person would like them, respect them, and stay with them just out of, say, love and care. They don't believe that. So they need something like leverage, like control, right? They need to be able to do something to even things out as they think. Maybe it's the money that they have, right? Men normally have to take a little longer or people in general have to take a little longer to earn enough money that they think that's leverage for them, right? Or again, maybe it's they have houses, they have cars, they can pay for your education, they can do something. It's leverage and control. Why do they want leverage and control? Because they literally, it's a pathology. They don't believe in themselves and they look down on themselves. Their self-esteem and self-concept is really, really low. So they don't think they can get someone who's on equal footing. They don't think they can get someone who's in the same age category or whatever, who is respect worthy, who can, again, take care of their own shit and whatever, and would want to be with them. They really don't believe it. So that's why they keep going for the young thing.
Okay, but here's the thing about it. And I'm going to show you the flip of society. You have it where the young girls are like, listen, we're going to get these cash apps from these old niggas. We're going to get them to pay our bills, and we're not going to give them any ass. And all they're going to do is pay our shit. We're going to go chase around hoochie daddies and shit. Pound town. My pussy pink, my booty hole brown. And so you now have it where younger girls, they're not fucking these older men, but these older men have no problem digging in their wallet and sending that fucking money. And so there is no more. There is that. No, listen, hold up, wait. That's not a pathology. That's a choice. That ain't no pathology. Listen, if you just listen, if that girl literally says, "Hey, Wacky, I need some money. I'm behind on bills," and Wacky chooses to send her that money, Wacky, was that a pathology or that was your choice? Did she trick you?
That would be a choice.
That was a choice. That wasn't no pathology. That was a choice.
I'm sorry. Do you think that something that is pathologized, for example, someone who has depression or schizophrenia or anxiety or no, I'm asking you. Do you think that people who have these disorders, there's a pathology there? Do you think they don't make choices? Like you're confused. You're confusing the fact that you willingly make a choice instead of looking at the fact that that choice isn't a normal choice to make. And people who are healthy, whole, self-actualized people don't make choices like that, right? So if you're making choices like that, that's abnormal behavior. And if it's abnormal behavior, it's a pathology, right? It's not normal to do that.
Hold on. I mean, don't all people have made choices that's not considered normal? So what are you trying to say? You know, I mean, everybody have made bad choices. What are you trying to say?
Yeah, and you know what? There's a difference between someone who makes a one-off. There's a difference between someone who makes a one-off, or you know what, they catch feelings for someone they really shouldn't have caught feelings for, and now they're paying for something they shouldn't. That's like the one-off situation. And then people who are continue doing it and continue doing it and continue doing it, and it's like a drug for them. And then before you know it, they are draining out their bank accounts. They're not paying their own bills. They're whatever. Like you don't realize, and that's what I'm saying. Like there's I made that one payment that one time because I wanted to help this chick out. That's not what we're really talking about.
I don't think BMT's I don't think the example that BMT put out was meant to be that deep.
No, it was, because we're talking about these chicks, because that's what these chicks, the chicks are also in a pathology. They often hate men, literally hate men, and again, that's pathologized because there's a reason they hate men. They don't just hate
why are you saying that they hate men? Wait, why are you saying that they hate men?
Many of them do.
No, you're painting a narrative. Now you're painting a narrative.
Okay, do you know why I say many of them? Do you know why? Because I work with women. This is my job. It's my job to know these things.
That's like me saying I work with men.
Do you work with women specifically, right? Helping them psychologically, because I do, right? I just came from a women's retreat just a couple weeks ago, right? So when I say that, no, it's actually my business to work with women and help them work through their trauma.
Wait, Ruby, look where you work at. You work at a place, a woman's retreat. If I go to work if I go to work and guys are talking about women, can I say I work at a men's retreat, or I'm just at a workspace where they're talking about their shit about women? You can't just try to say because that's where you work at. That's like you say, well, I work at a psych ward or I work at a mental health place, so I know what they talk about. Well, no, you're at the spot where they're going to talk about that. You can't use that damn shit.
You know, that's literally actually my job, right? You know, my job is psychology, neuroscience, and behavior, right? You do know that, right, BMT? Because I'm pretty sure you know that's my profession, right? Or did we forget that's what my profession is?
So wait. So if I You listen. That's like
I get you. So, I got you.
Hold on. Wait. You can't. If I work at a barber shop and men are talking about their,
I got you, man. I got you. No, because you know what? You know what my job is. You know what my job is. You know what my profession is. You know what I do. You know what I studied. You know what my work has been.
So you're trying to use that
human behavior and psychology.
To use that as leverage of why you should.
You know it's human behavior and psychology, and you know it's specifically
to help use that as
work through their issues. You know that's what it is. So when I say that, well, actually, I've worked with countless women, countless retreats, right? Thousands of women over the like not just over this country, not just over your country, but all over like literally the world, working with women. So therefore, when I say, yeah, no, a lot of times, the majority of the times they actually literally hate men, right? I'm not just speaking just from my own experience working with these women. I'm not just speaking from the actual research. I'm not just speaking from listening to countless women tell their own stories on various forms of social media, including Azria the Amazon, who I think were very successful, awesome woman, who only got into sex work a few years ago, and she hates men. She literally talked about it very openly. A lot of the sex workers who got into it either really early or really late talk about it openly online and voice these things. So when I say, hey, listen, no, it's because I've worked with a lot of women over the decades, right? And I've heard a lot of women talk about their stories, about their experiences, what they were thinking, feeling in that moment when they were there, if they're still there right now. Right? And you're going to say, oh, well, just if you work at a barbershop, like really? Really, B.M.T? That's that's
So,
disingenuous as fuck, and you know it.
no, hey, listen.
Uh-huh.
The fact that you use that to try to say that is why you're correct. Like it's like you're saying, I work at this space, but then I also go to a woman's a space. Like, look at. I want you to understand that. Look, I want you to use the seesaw of reality. You
Mm-hmm.
help women, but you also go to the manosphere to talk to men that have a complex that is out of this pocket about women.
Okay.
You help women, but you go to the manosphere.
Okay.
That's like a Nazi going to a Jewish soup kitchen to go get them food and crackers.
Oh, is
It's like
it?
you can't do both. Come on, man. You can't be on
Really?
both sides. No, no. Creative, please don't tell me I'm crazy about this. Like, you can't do both, man. You think those
Really?
women would have. No,
Yeah,
you
that's
can't.
true. You gotta pick one. It's either you're with the manosphere and the wall, or you don't believe in it.
Actually, no, that's absolutely, like, literally categorically untrue. And I'm sorry that y'all have lived in this echo chamber
Don't
society so
do
long that you
that. Okay.
think you really and truly have to fully, you either have to agree with all the women and everything they say, or you can't work with women. You have to agree with the manosphere and everything too.
No,
You can't work with the
man.
manosphere. Like, what kind of dumb fuck logic is that? Like, come on now.
Are
Like,
you
That
let's
is
not
part
be
of the
silly. Let's
manosphere?
not be silly. No, I'm fucking not. See, that's the interesting thing. You're talking about me going to the manosphere. I haven't actually even spoken to anyone in the manosphere in what, a year? Well, I mean, it's been a good several months since I've even been on Melody's channel. So what the
all
fuck are
right. We
you
didn't keep.
talking
We
about,
well,
BMT?
hold up,
Because I'm pretty sure
wait,
you've
wait.
been there more recently than I have.
No, actually, I haven't. Actually, I haven't.
Bet you have.
Actually, I haven't. What are you talking about?
Okay.
How do you?
The
What do you mean?
manosphere comes to your channel, bro. This is the first time I've been on your channel in a good minute. I don't really deal
Okay.
with the manosphere or with the manosphere talking points directly. And then that's what I specifically said when I came into this conversation. No one's caping for the manosphere or for their talking points or for the way that they talked about
You
these
just
talking
said
points.
the
I
wall in the
literally am not.
manosphere.
Where did you hear the wall from? Where did you ever hear that from?
Actually, I heard the wall when I was in school at McMaster University. And the reason why I came to the manosphere, again, BMT knows this to be true, because
Huh.
he knew this from years ago because I told him that story countless times because, we were cool. And so the reason why I
Oh,
came to the
now we
manosphere
were
is
cool.
because
Now we were
when
cool.
I came to the manosphere, back in 2016, it was the only place on the internet really that wasn't just dealing in feelings. So you actually had to come with like research, facts, and back up what you were talking about. You couldn't just say, well, because I think so, because I feel so, because it's my experience. You couldn't do that back then. And so that's what drew me into the manosphere at that time, is because that's the way the manosphere was at that time. It's not like that anymore. The manosphere has changed quite a bit in the last few years. And when it changed in the last few years, they lost a lot of those things that drew me in and appealed to me at the time. Because since I was a researcher in psychology, neuroscience, and behavior, and these people wanted to deal in facts and research, it appealed to me. That's why I was there. Doesn't appeal to me if you're not going to use facts, if you have no problem misreading studies and misquoting facts that are objectively right there. If you want to use all of your feelings and over facts and then don't give a shit about the facts, I have a problem with that, as I always have. And so I say to the manosphere because I've been there, and because generally the things I believed 6, 7 years ago, I still believe now. And I argue against the manosphere. And most of the manosphere hates me and calls me a feminist and da 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 because I disagree with what they're saying now, because what they're saying now has no resemblance to what they were saying 7 years ago, as I've talked
Ruby.
about.
Okay, Ruby.
Okay, all right, Ruby. So would you agree that when we're talking about the wall and what we're talking about from what the manosphere and other red pillars are saying, do you agree with their stance on the wall?
No, I've literally said that every time I've opened my mouth
Okay,
about
so
the wall.
Okay.
that's what we're saying.
But
That's
I've
that's
literally said
it.
the same thing. So I still, again, the wall is still, to me, again, and this is what I've been saying,
It's
very
real.
real.
You
The
believe it exists.
generalized concept is very real. I don't agree with what the minister says about the wall and the way that they try to weaponize this real concept against women. I don't agree with that at all. I've said that every time I've opened my mouth. I'm not sure you missed it.
Yeah, but I feel like you're taking the wall and you're redefining it into this is what I think the wall is, and
No,
this
see
is
what
what
I'm doing is I'm
I
using the
put in my
original
spin on it.
definition. No, see what you're
Could you
missing is
tell us
that I'm using the original definition, and what the manosphere has done is they have bastardized a concept that already existed, right? And so using their bastardized concept and then pretending that they're the ones who are right is insane to me. I'm never going to use a bastardized concept and pretend that that's the standard, because to me that can't be the standard.
okay. I would ask you this, Ruby. Could you give us the original definition?
Yeah. So, and I mean, I thought I did a good enough job explaining, but okay. So the original definition, because as Wacky said, right, we are always aging, right? And we do not age in baby steps that are appreciable, right? We are kind of growing in age, but we don't notice, right? We just suddenly one day we went from being a child to being a tween. And then suddenly one day we go from being a tween to being an adolescent. Suddenly we go from that to being a young adult, right? There's not really an appreciable difference, right? So every time it's like taking a jump, right? But it's like every time you take that jump, there's still, you land, you're good. There's nothing negative, there's nothing threatening. You're actually looking forward to the next jump you're going to make. Nothing is limiting has happened to you, perceptually or otherwise. And then suddenly you're taking the next leap, remember, and you don't see it coming. So you're
Mm-hmm.
taking the leap, but bam, you hit the wall, because suddenly a perceptual change has happened that the world is perceiving you as and that you're perceiving you as, that you were not ready for. It's the first time in your entire adult life, or really your entire life, where you actually look old. You are perceived as old, and you're perceiving yourself as old, where you are past half of your lifespan, and where instead of you thinking about future possibilities and whatever, you start contemplating your mortality, and it becomes a very threatening, right, and limiting feeling place. And this is where, again, a lot of people now go through that whole hey midlife crisis thing, where, right, because they're trying to combat that feeling. It's a feeling that happens for both men and women. It's not just a woman thing, it's not just a man thing, it's not about dating and whatever. It's literally a perceptual thing, right, where you perceiving yourself and the way people perceive you, and you're suddenly like when women get called ma'am, right, and they're like, what are you calling me ma'am for? It's like, no, that's what you call old people, I'm not old. And then they suddenly realize, oh wait, shit, everyone sees them as old, right? The paper boy now sees me as the old bitch, not as like the sexy, hot mom or whatever. It's a perceptual change, and it's threatening, and it makes you start questioning your mortality. It starts making you question your value in society as a human being, because there's now a shift. And for the first time in your life, you have to see yourself as an old person where most of your life is over. And now what? You can't evaluate life in any way that you've been used to up until this moment in time. So it's a wall. It's a really stark realization that people have to come to, and it often knocks people's breath out, right? Or sits them flat on their ass for a minute, right? Some people make really dumbass suggest things like they break up their marriages, they start buying Lamborghinis and doing dumb shit, right? Because they can't handle it, right? It takes them a while to adjust. They go through therapy and whatever to get to the other side of it, where they're like, okay, this is not such a bad thing, right? Like,
Oh,
okay, let me embrace the other
Now,
side of this.
is
okay,
this
Ruby.
is this a definition, or I'm talking? Is this a definition?
Well, do you think that I walk around constantly with a handbook with me, reading
Well, you
it so
just
I
told
can
us
give
you
you a
gonna do a
concise sentence? I
definition,
explained the
Ruby.
concept
You
to you.
can't.
I explained the concept to you.
Yeah, but
So,
we want to know, where did you get it from? Like, did you make this up? Did you this in your book? Did you learn this in school? Like, was this a concept that came from the 1700s? Like,
I
we
literally
want to
Yeah,
know
told you
like
where
did
that.
Socrates say
But
this?
see, so you guys are proving that you literally didn't listen to anything I said at any point because I
Oh my
explained that
God!
there's
Now
several
you doing
courses
that?
on
Now
we
you
aging.
asking you where you got
I,
it from. We
because
not
I
asking you
explained
for
to
the
you
you
because I
can't
definition.
do
did.
that to us,
No, because I
Ruby.
told you
We
that
Nah,
as
don't want
man,
the
you
well.
gotta think
definition.
Because
we
I
weren't even
literally
listening.
told you. No,
No,
because I
we were
literally
listening.
told you that I've
Ruby,
taken
we were
several
listening.
courses
Don't do
on
that, man.
because I literally told you multiple times I've taken several courses on aging and on death and dying. And it's been brought up in both of those arenas. And
I'm gonna
this
ask
is a
D Darrell, has he
concept.
heard of the wall? I'm gonna ask
Okay,
him also.
you can
He
ask
better
Deidre
he
whenever
better
you
say the
want.
same
Psychologist
shit you said.
study. I'm
Why
gonna
would you
ask
say
my
the same
cousin
thing?
too. She's studying psychology also.
Great. Is she studying psychology, neuroscience, and behavior?
I never
Actually,
heard
she's going
nobody
to
ever
the.
say the wall, bro. I've never heard
Okay.
any of
But
them.
again,
I never heard any
I'm
of them
gonna
ever.
go ask her because she about to get her PhD. So I'm gonna
okay.
ask
Like,
her.
Mhm.
you get back at me, creative. If you know we're gonna talk this later on. I want to know. I want to know. Like honestly, why are
Mhm.
therapists talking about the wall? Like literally, that would you would think that would be the opposite kind of thing. Like because they would be
Well,
like,
no, because
hold on,
again, what
It
my
sounds like the
area of
definition
psychology
of a
does.
midlife crisis. That's what it sounds like.
Yeah,
that
but
sounds
that's
like
not
a
a
midlife
definition.
crisis shit.
What is a midlife crisis?
What you just defined there. What you just
No, no.
said.
What did I define? No, what did I say?
What you just said
What's a
there.
midlife crisis?
When
Some,
somebody
some,
comes to them and they're like, "Oh my God, I'm getting older," and then they turn around, they see like am I ready to acknowledge the fact that I'm getting older and I don't look the same?
well, I
That's
guess
a
I had a
midlife
midlife crisis.
crisis.
I had a midlife crisis not too long ago. But I literally saw my kid doing some stuff, and I'm like, holy shit, I'm getting old. That didn't mean like I hit the wall. It just mean like, damn, my kid is doing something that at one time I used to have to do for them. Like, okay, so like my kid, I used to cook dinner. By the time I got back to the house, he already done dropped the rice. He already done chopped up the potatoes. He already done stewed the meat. And I'm like, holy shit, who helped you do all that? Oh, I just did it. How? Well, I know how to do it. I've been know how to do it, Dad. And I'm like, damn, you're a whole teenager. Like, that's not me hitting no wall. That's just me realizing
That
that,
has nothing to
that,
do with
that
you.
no, hold on now. Well, hold on. People, that's like if a girl were to go look in the mirror and say, babe, am I fat? Do I still look cute? That's
It's
just her
not.
acting. Hold on. See, but see, you not too long ago talking about depressions and insecurities.
Uh-huh.
But if
But
a
again,
woman,
what you just described has nothing to do with you.
hold on, wait, can I finish mine? I let you get yours off. Can I get mine off,
You
please?
definitely did not just let me. You did the same kind of comments I'm making now. I know one's stopping you.
Okay. So you're having it, whereas to the woman is feeling a certain type of way. She feels a certain type of way about her body, or hey, I want to go to school. I feel like there's some stuff undone. That's not her feeling like, well, I came up short. People have those things where they stop short of what they want to do in life and they have
Yeah.
other things going on.
Yeah.
Or
Not
they
what I
feel like,
said, but yeah.
can they still pull something? I mean, it's like I said, I'm not using social media as a talking leverage point of
Hmm.
this is what the man of spirit has been talking. I've never listen, we done already said that long ago. The
Hmm.
same guys like Rollo Tomasi and all these weirdo quacks talking about what it means to be a man
Hmm.
are literally having pictures of them kissing on men and doing all this weird shit.
Hmm.
And we're like, yo, see, this what happened when y'all go down this pipe of saying red pill and all this other dumb goofy shit. That shit is some make believe insecure concept for men. Just like you want to use the shit for the women. Ain't no bills been passed around here. Ain't no kind of things been set up for men, agencies. It's just a bunch of men hiding behind avatars and in group chats, but they're afraid to actually go get shit actually done with the laws. Now, if it was me, I'll say, well, those motherfuckers hit a rock in life. They're not doing shit. They're hoping that the women come to them and submit to them. Lotto, that weird fucker. That's something that's a roadblock. Just like you got women on here talking delusional shit that I can do X, Y, and Z with my body. Fuck that of the consequences. Or I can go fight a man and I don't give a shit. Somebody like you'll say, well, okay, that's crazy. That's not logical. Like we can understand the internet and social media has drastically, which we done seen in the courthouses with Facebook and Instagram, are being called out because they're setting up drastic and dangerous situations for the youth. And you can look that up because Zuckerberg has been put on trial for that. So the fact that they're not doing anything about this shit in here in these spaces, that's a problem.
Yeah, but like again,
go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say that you just didn't address what I said. And I'm not really disagreeing.
Do I
You
have
keep bringing up things I don't necessarily disagree with, like to combat what I'm saying, even though it doesn't actually really combat what I'm saying. So I mean,
the wall is never been in any DMS psychology manuals ever.
It's called DSM. DSM. It's called the DSM, not a DMS. Just so we're all clear.
Okay, I mean, okay. I've heard of the wall. It is a point where people have reached a mental limit based on psychological security. Is that what you're talking about, Ruby? Red pill and okay. Red pill and feminism are now a lot more addictive than crack. I can get that. I have heard of the wall being used in psychological circles, but not necessarily focused on any particular gender nor necessarily age, other than its origin of construction. Now, I got a question when it comes to these wall talking points. With no offense, but right now, psychology, they're still trying to redefine gender right now. We already understand. I don't trust a lot of them motherfuckers.
No,
right
they're
now.
not. Yes, they're literally not trying to redefine gender. Gender is always been defined exactly.
They are doing that right now.
The word cisgender, for example, has existed in the textbooks for over 100 years. People just didn't use it, so they didn't know. But it's always existed. So no one's redefining anything. It's always existed. Yeah.
Nobody's using that. Nobody's using that shit. Nobody's using it.
Right. Doesn't mean it didn't exist, and doesn't mean it wasn't defined. That's the whole point. So no one's trying to redefine shit. Good. Look it up. You should, because it's existed.
What book has said that?
Bro, literally look it up. That's when I will say look it up. That's not even the discussion we're having, and I'm telling you, look it up because
I'm gonna go look it up right now.
Redefining shit. Go ahead. If you're going to stop the conversation we're having now, though, to now go all the way into gender, I'm going to leave, just so we're all clear. But look it up. No one's redefining gender. No one's redefining anything. So the fact that we do that, because we like to try to call psychology like a pseudoscience, like somehow it is, because no one really knows anything about psychology. No one understands psychology. No one understands psychological research. Everyone just thinks of it as therapists sitting on a couch and they'll fuck with your brain or they'll fuck with your head and they can do that. But no one really thinks about the fact that most of psychology has nothing to do with giving therapy to people on a couch. 99% of it really has nothing to do with giving people therapy on a couch.
Now, the point of this is, does the wall talk points ever exist? Now, we're looking at it from that people, right? Creative. I believe that's what we originally started off with, is about people. And the choices that they make and choose. And we already said that it does not exist because people will choose whatsoever they want, that their heart desire. If a man wants to give a woman $50 to $100 to $1,000, that's not, we can't just say, well, he must be depressed, he must be a loser, or this and that. If he just wants to do it, he wants to do it. What can I honestly tell that motherfucker? That's his choice. You know what I'm saying? It's the same thing The same thing for a woman. Hey, ma'am, you should trust in a man because literally they can protect you. Fuck that. I don't trust in men. I've heard women say that shit. Does that mean she's a feminist? No. She just said, I don't trust in men. That doesn't make her a feminist. She just said, I don't trust in men. We're automatically labeling people into stuff because of things that are being put out there as well, that's what they fit into. No, it is what it is, man. Like I said, I'm telling y'all right now, man, a man and a woman are going to choose unless forced. If you give people choice, I think the problem is people are having a problem with people having advocacy of choice. Like, if a man says, "Hey, I got money, I got X, Y, Z," Ruby, why won't you be with me? Or Creative, I can't understand why won't you be with a man like me? I got my own money, I got my own house, I got my own shit going for me. Why do I need to get with you? Well, I'm a man, and and you can improve my lifestyle. Nigga, the fuck out of here. You're going to have people that are now doing that. I think a lot of men can't stomach that women can turn them down and don't give a fuck. That's why you see all these dudes running online saying that the women are not choosing them. No, it just means that you're not going to get the meal. Like that dude online saying, hey, women are, listen, man, same thing for a lot of men. Um, Same thing for a lot of men. I never approved of these conversations of the wall. I thought these were the most dumbest and stupidest shit ever. That if I knew the origin of these men that were making these conversations, they were wasteful fucking talking points. There's no such thing for a man when it comes to a wall. A man is going to choose what the fuck he wants to choose. If I want a fat girl, a skinny girl, a broke woman, or a classy woman, it's whatever I want. And a lot of people don't want to stomach that, but it is what it is. Man, I told you, a man could have a classy woman and be still attracted to sluts. And they do that very often. Same thing as for a man. Hey, man, you fucking on that fat chick? Why are you worried about what the fuck I'm doing? My business. Stay the fuck out of it. These things weren't really concepts of problems until this fucking bullshit little boy talks started happening. Let me dive back. What's going on, man? Tomorrow, what's up, man? You're here to conversation. Did the wall ever exist? Uh, we have
No,
something that
it
says.
was
Go
no.
ahead.
I mean, what the wall is acceptance. I mean, because they're always talking about the wall, kind of a post hoc rationalization after a woman has done X, Y, and Z. It's kind of like female nature. All these people who lost to women all of a sudden know everything about female nature, but none of these motherfuckers are married to a Walmart area. They know everything about female nature, but they be with the worst women on the fucking planet. Again, it's a term. It's a post hoc rationalization. That's all it is. Oh well, and man, there is a wall. It's called productivity and shit that you'll accept. So a lot of men don't like the fact that now you have to produce to get a woman. That used to not be the case, and now it is. And a lot of these dudes are losing their shit over it because if they have to produce, that means that they needed to be having something in common with people who always produce. But the way most things are set up within black dumb nigga culture is that you always have to get the pussy for free. And it has to cause you a whole lot of problems, and that's totally fine and okay. And you can complain about the shit, and that's totally fine and okay. So that's where we at with it. You know, you have a bunch of people who came up with terms that don't mean shit, and all this shit is just fake and false. Just like female nature, just like all this other shit. It's fake and it's false and it's only a lack of motherfucking experience is what these people prey upon for the most part. They are sexual predators, except for there are no sex within this predation. They're using sex as an object ball in order to lead you around by the nose to all these other points. That's all it is. It's really not that hard.
Now, I want to ask you, because we was having a conversation. Do you feel the wall conversation has set back men, or it has
Yes.
nothing to do with the setback? What's your thoughts on that?
The red pill in the manosphere has set back men like fucking 50 to 75 fucking years. It gave women an
Jesus
immense
Christ.
amount of power. An immense amount of fucking power.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
I thought we should have never had those conversations. We should have never started talking about, well, the who's the chosen, not be chosen shit. Like, the motherfuckers are gonna do what they're gonna do, man. You can't stop these motherfuckers, man. They want to set Earth on fire. Like I said, like, people are gonna choose that of what they want to do, man. I've known men that they have a home, but they cannot stop goddamn buying lottery tickets and women. Now, is he depressed? No. Very functional person. He just likes that. He said, I like what I like. I said, Dad, is there something wrong with him? Nope, that's just him, son. That's just him. That's a choice. We gotta understand. Some people are choosing. I gotta find that damn video. Some people are choosing to take the cyanide pill. You gotta wear some women. Y'all women can tell them X, Y, and Z about getting with a healthy man, but if she want to get with that Kevin Gates nigga that like choking her the fuck out, the fuck can we do? Y'all know how many times the police done told women stay away from that dude? He's an abuser. How many times did that happen, MOT? And what did that woman might go do? Go right back in that fucking house.
Dude, I arrested the same dude 3 times in one 12-hour shift. The same fucking, she built him out 3 fucking times. The 2 other times, I didn't even have my belt on when I went in. I just went in there like, all right, man, doing this again? All right, man, we're doing this again? 5 hours later, same shit. 3 times, one shift. And the other 2 times, I just stayed parked around the corner. Wait for the call. All right, going through it again. Like people don't understand the limits of choice. They understand it when it's them, but they don't understand it when it's everyone else. And that's kind of what the problem is. And I don't think you can really help people who don't understand the limits of free choice. Free choice has a responsibility element kind of assigned and tied to it. A lot of these people, they don't want to understand that for some reason. And what it is, they want to listen to all this, I'll call it rhetoric, dogma, as it is. So that way they can escape reality. And then reality hits them in the face, and then they come back and complain about reality. It's just not adjusted to reality, or the limits of free choice, or the responsibilities of free choice. So they come online to escape the responsibility of free choice. They don't understand that those people are living their lives doing whatever the fuck they want to with their own money, with their own body, and they don't respect that. Like, a lot of these dudes don't even respect freedom like that. Like me, this is why I never really talked about or ever gave a shit about communities and none of that shit. Because at the end of the day, the community is your household. That's your first community. And if your household ain't fucking straight, that's why you have all these non-productive men talking about what the fuck they would like to see out of society. I just laugh. I'm like, who the fuck are these? It's like, motherfucker, you ain't even got your whole household together, and you're trying to get other women of other cultures to submit to a standard that's not even masculine. So that's just where we at, man. You know, the scoreboard isn't lying. The people who are complaining about women are the motherfuckers who are losing. Stay the fuck away from the dudes. And as long as you do that, you'll be fine. There's gonna be masculine avatars who get paid a lot of money, vulcanizing these dudes' escapable fears. But just let them people go, because they're not gonna be able to keep that shit up either.
I think that's the thing, and anybody can jump in. You know what I'm saying? Like, y'all gotta understand, man. Do y'all not notice the call and play that people have been saying one thing and definitely moving holistically different? It's like the pastor that talks about y'all need to stop being sinners and goes out and buys lottery tickets and gets drunk at the boom boom room. At what point do we stop taking that motherfucker serious? Like, there's no way, man. And this is why before Wacky left off, you don't see these people talking about any kind of legal agency. The wall conversation
Nope.
will never get close to talking about any type of legal agency. I at least
It is to escape responsibility.
I at least give the feminists that. At least they were talking about some type of rights. Fucking the wall shit don't got nothing to do. It's all they're talking about is pussy and who's to be chosen.
It's a roundabout way of discussing the same thing. That's all it is.
Like, y'all gotta understand, man. Listen, man. Some people are choosing. They're talking about, well, we need to get the women to come back home. To what? What home? What home? What home, dude? What home? The 94 crime bill destroyed the home. The Mahonen report destroyed the home. Welfare destroyed the home. I'm like, all right, bro. Y'all keep saying this destruction of the universe shit. It's 2023. What are you doing now? It's 2023.
They're still trying to look at the pot of golden pussy at the end of the fucking rainbow, man. Like, you can't trust these dudes. End of the day, they know what the answer to all this shit is. It's just that they're waiting on women to not have choice to come back to the table to choose them.
Exactly.
Like, you're fucking crazy. I'm not waiting on hope for none of that. I'm not fucking waiting. And at the end of the day, the only man who would make, like, here's the genius of this fucking idea. The only man who would make for a deal like that are niggas who don't deserve pussy or women in the fucking first place. Evolution works. It fucking works. If your ass is being left out right now, it fucking worked. You're trying to complain to a brick wall about women that are not coming to join you at the brick wall to complain at the brick wall about women. They're not there for a reason. They're not there because they don't want you, they don't want me, they want what they want. You have to go to other places, but they're unwilling to produce to actually get to other places. And I'm with these women screwing over these dudes. Like, I couldn't be happier with these motherfuckers being left outside. I couldn't be happy, to be quite honest. Because if you're stupid enough to think that a woman is going to give up infinite choice to choose a bad choice, you're fucking stupid.
Facts. I have nothing to say against anything you said, because this used to be what I used to come to the Manosphere to listen to. Because that's what the Manosphere used to be. Like, I still find it absolutely shocking that this dysfunctional incel, have never touched a woman before in your life, culture has taken over and so pervasively taken over the Manosphere and this supposed safe space for men, that now you have a bunch of people who have literally no life experience, no job experience, no career experience, no power as men in any way. And they're the ones who are running the space and running men and telling men what to do and telling men how to get women and telling men how to define themselves and how to actualize and how to find purpose. And it's just like, what is happening? Like, it wasn't like this.
But you have to realize that it has turned into an actual mission for these people to stagnate the entire man, because listening to this shit don't get you access to women.
No.
There's not a single you're gonna run a woman off so fucking fast by listening to this shit, trying to run down 30 or 40 different points. You're like, out of here, back to the infinite dick. What the fuck is wrong with you?
Yes.
You're being taught how to run off women. Okay.
It's so true though. But they won't listen to married men. They won't listen to any man who will tell them this, right? They're listening to the fresh and fits of the world telling them bullshit because, well, it's a more comfortable lie, right? Because they're pointing all the fingers out at the evil modern woman. And like, dude, sure, you are 100 pounds overweight. You don't even have a job. You live in your grandma's basement and you're 32, right? Of course you deserve a perfect 10 who's never slept with anyone before. What the hell? Of course you deserve a perfect wife. Of course you do, right? They love that message. So they would rather hear that message than the truth.
And some man who love his daughter, who put enough time into her to actually be a woman, is supposed to let her pick somebody like that. Like,
Right.
and it's like, oh, you got this game rabbit hole that motherfuckers go down who don't understand that these are circumstantial things, and if you don't have better circumstantial things to offer or to be offered, you're going to be stuck out there. So you listen to a bunch of valueless men complaining about women that they can't afford or qualify for. This is a productivity based argument. Are there some people out there
Mm,
who got screwed over, got married, all that? Yeah, but the vast majority of these dudes have mixed themselves in with men who got real fucking problems.
true.
Men who got real child support motherfucking issues who can't get their kids, which is also a financial issue. Because if you change
Hmm.
the actual venue, you can be able to get better results. I've seen it. Most of my brothers are on child support and all that kind of shit. And in the day, they went from Mississippi to another state, several different other states, most of them Virginia and like other states where they have to look at the track record of Mississippi. They'd rather your child be dead than to be in your fucking hands. But if you
Oh.
keep that shit like that, and if you don't change the fucking venue, that becomes an actual cost. Then you go down there, let people know, because if you're barely producing it in that environment, I'm like, man, fuck that. Move to this place right here. You're already behind. Next thing you know, you're making more money. You can now be able to fight, and you decide whether you want to keep this shit as a bill, or whether or not you want to renegotiate, pay your fair share, and try to get these
Hmm.
kids some type of help and just walk the fuck away. End of the day, people lack problem solving skills. That's the
Hmm.
thing. They've traded problem solving skills into complacency and fucking complaining, and they don't want to hear that shit. And look, I'm okay with them niggas giving away their $5 and $10 to these dumbass motherfuckers who know damn well better what the fuck they're doing, PhDs included. But they're keeping these dudes in a circular system that is not going to provide them answers to anything.
Mm.
See, that's the thing I'm looking at because when I talk about a lot of this stuff, I try to remove the conversation from the sub hive conversation, and I actually try to talk on what's happening outside of the digital. I told y'all, you can't have these conversations in the light. You can't have them. Why? Because the dominant society will be like, it's time for you to get you the fuck up out of here. You're not going to have these type of things. You're not going to tell Bridget at work, yo, Bridget, the reason why you can't get a man, but you hit the wall. Thank you. You just got terminated that same day. These things calling people low value and high value, all that shit. Nobody's doing that shit in
All they have
normal.
left now is trolling women. That's all they have left now.
And we understand. Listen, at some point, they're going to find a way to start smothering and setting those fucking termites on fire. Like, I think it's now it's one of those last ditch efforts by the empire. You've already lost, but you're still trying to build whatever type of fleet you can to keep going. And so the reason why I said that wall shit ain't working because listen, man, those women are not going to give up. They're going to be like, well, what the fuck you got? Well, you need to come back and give up your voting rights and this and that. Like, do you hear yourself with that? Do you hear yourself with telling people to give up their voting rights? Do you hear yourself telling people to stop working and just come home and be barefoot and pregnant so that way they can be effeminate? Like, I sometimes I just don't think people thoroughly think these conversations through. They just jump up and smoke a lot of fentanyl throughout the live. Like they're not working, man. I'm not gonna listen. A man getting up saying, "Hey, my girlfriend or my wife or whoever is 25, 26. I'm 40 something years old. I don't give a fuck. As long as they're contributing to society, it's not my fucking business. It's not my business. Same thing, vice versa. Yes, there are older women. They're now dating younger men. If it's keeping that motherfucker out of goddamn population from fucking up and putting babies out there, old bitch, go ahead and take them. Take them. We already know you done hit the rocks with menopause, and that nigga ain't getting nobody pregnant. That's one thing an older one.
Shit work. Shit work.
Huh? It works. It does. It does work.
It works. It works.
So he
I had a
has a
woman tell
baby
me
on
that.
her.
The fuck? She kicked his ass out.
Well, yeah, after he already had a baby on her. I mean, I think that's the thing. It's like the dysfunction doesn't work, right? Even if it's a temporary band-aid to a permanent problem, eventually the permanent problem is just going to show its ugly head again because dysfunction is never the solution.
Are these younger people having kids like that, Ruby?
No.
What do you mean? What is your question?
No, they're not. No.
They're
No,
not.
they're not.
These younger people are not having kids like that. They're
Well,
really not. They slowed. That's the thing. That's I think
they
a lot of
slowed
society.
down. Yeah, they've slowed down, but it's a lot easier for people under the age of 20, right? And then also, again, under the age of 40, especially, right? To get pregnant or to get someone pregnant, whether we're talking about men or women, right? So, and unfortunately, what we have is a giant society that is full of a bunch of delayed delayed adulthood people, right? Is you're supposed to be an adult at 18, but let's be real, no one is, right? Nowadays they get to 25, 30, and some people are still in this extended adolescence, right? People are talking about the fact that millennials and Gen Zers, old Gen Zers, are still not moving out of their parents' house at 35, 40 years old. Right. So you have this like kind of extended adolescence that's sort of happening with everybody. And that's part of the reason why it is to begin with that this whole birth rate thing has slowed down. It's not just like just a natural consequence of this, that, or the next thing. It's the fact that you have a bunch of people who are just not functional enough to be hooking up and they don't have a private place to go to hook up and da 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 and they can't get the men or the women that they're trying to hook up with or whatever, right? Like there's a lot of dysfunction that's happening. Like it's not just one thing or not just, I wish I could say, oh, it's just, well, if we just have this dysfunctional internet crap go away and the people staying on, it'll be fine.
Now,
Like, no, there's a lot of problems.
Let me ask you this.
Hmm?
Now, do you think that they're either dysfunctional, but everybody thinks that the younger people are just they're. I'm hearing what you on that. I'm hearing what you on the dysfunctional, or are they
Mhm.
looking at it like, hey, it's not financially viable to my progress? Like I've
Both.
heard, because I mean, you can have both and both be right, but I'm hearing more of the latter. People talking about, hey, I don't have time to have kids. I'm doing X, Y, and Z, or I don't want kids, but I want to travel. I don't want no kid because guess what? I got too much other shit going on. Like a lot of younger guys, they're not trying to do the kid thing holistically. It'll be 2 out of 10 that might actually want kids. A lot of women are now, hey, fuck that. We got birth control and X, Y, and Z. Too many goddamn things. So talking that shit about being a wife, you could do. Listen, they're gonna get their papers and their paperwork first. Like it's. I mean, I get it that we could say that this new generation is dysfunctional. I think right now they're trying to fill in the gap of the bullshit from other shit that has already happened. Like
No,
I
and I
mean,
agree with you to an extent. That is true. I mean, financially, millennials are like the only generation that have hit this many economic crises in their lifetime. Never mind the internet boom that made their entire upbringing basically entirely irrelevant. So yeah, that's absolutely true, right? But MOT brought up the concept of a lack of problem solving skills, and that is an issue in general in these kind of the millennial and the Generation Z. Generation Zs are better at problem solving and at trying to recoup and to bounce back and to come up with another solution then or whatever, multiple streams of income, blah, 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 right? Gen Z is better than that, and the generation under them apparently will be even better, right? But millennials in particular got stalled really hard, and we didn't have the bounce back. Right now, that doesn't mean that there aren't millennials, obviously, who aren't trendsetters, who aren't trailblazers, obviously, right? Most of the tech wizards are, right? But, in general, as a whole, right, we got derailed many, many times, and we just didn't have the bounce back. We didn't know how to recuperate. We didn't know how to say, okay, all of my plans went down the drain. This is what I'm going to do instead. We just didn't know how to redirect, right? And so a lot of people kind of got stuck. And then a lot of other people who didn't get completely screwed got scared, right? They don't want to take some of these risks that are normal risks, like say buying a home or venturing out on their own, or, doing something risky, because, they've seen so many people in their own generation get crushed financially. Suddenly out of the blue or whatever. Or like I was saying earlier with Yellow Freight, people working 30, 40 years of their lives at a company and suddenly losing their pension, like the entire company, period, lost their 401ks and pensions, and then the company just went out of business. Oh, well, now you're fucked. So they're seeing a lot of
This is
this
about
type of
stealing
thing
pensions.
happen.
Yeah, the yellow
Hold
thing
on.
is specifically about stealing pensions. So.
About stealing pensions and their 401k.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah.
But that's what I mean. Like, as the millennial generation is kind of the generation that we were born into, Generation X. They told us the same stuff they told older Generation X. Hey, if you just do this, this, and this, you'll be really successful. And then we all got to adulthood, and the tech boom happened, and everything suddenly became obsolete. And we had to kind of start again. Okay, fine. Then we had 2 economic crashes in our lifetime, right? We've had a worldwide pandemic in our lifetime, right? And then we've seen things like Yellow Freight, like in other companies. It's not just there. Historic things happen where there's people are suddenly bankrupted overnight. You've seen that happen again and again. So you have a lot of fear and trepidation in my generation in particular. And so they're not willing to take those risks. They're not willing to move forward. So they're kind of stuck in adolescence. And I do think some of that is really a choice because they're afraid.
Okay.
And they have reason to be.
Yeah.
Okay.
A quick one on the
What?
Yellow Freight thing.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh.
All right. So this is how bad it is. They took out 2 PPP loans based on those employees. They got an EIDL loan based on their circumstances. Then they got an employee retention credit for all 30,000 of those employees. And then they went belly up. Fuck out of here. This is criminal fucking behavior. Criminal.
It is. It's terrible. I just did a news story on it on Thursday on my channel, and it was just like to watch the employees, the way that they told them, like, oh, it shouldn't be a big thing, and just to watch those men react, because this is their whole lives. This is 40 years. Their whole lives. They've been good employees, and you just screwed them. What are they supposed to do now? Like, who's going to hire them when they've been working for 40 years? That means they're old. They're like 50, 60. Who's hiring them now? Let alone, right? Their pension's gone. Everything's gone. Everything's gone. Like, oh, it's just terrible.
And the other thing is that now these people have to start over. I don't think those people, like most people with companies that old, they didn't actually donate any money to Social Security, so they're not even gonna have Social Security. They just
now again, and we spoke about this earlier, and I said, listen, as you get older, you got to start making provisions for that time. Sooner or later, my brother's going to have to come out of that truck, and he understands that. He understands that very well. Sooner or later, he's going to have to say, I need to sit my black ass down. Even for you, Ruby, we're all going to get old. It would behoove you, and this is the thing I've seen time and time again. A lot of motherfuckers do not plan for their retirement of getting old. And you know what happens? My kid or somebody is supposed to take care of me. That is very, very dangerous thinking, because now you're banking. It's like you're bidding blind. You're bidding blind versus actually that of, okay, yeah, I get it's coming out of your check. You're putting money aside in your bank or some shit like that. Unless somehow, hey, I get it. If the banks somehow took all your money and set it on fire or some shit, which would be, I guess God just wants you dead at that point. But, yes, that has been happening. James, I know a lot of trucking companies that have been undercutting the marketplace, but that's a whole other conversation we'll have to have with a bunch of freight and dispatchers about that. Listen, I can only imagine what's going to happen when Swift leaves. Ooh, that's going to be a lot of routes right there. If Swift goes off the market, hey, y'all, I hope y'all are stocked because what are some? I don't know. That's a get off
It's their
topic.
fault. It, it's
We
completely
know
fault.
that
They
MOT.
Swift.
We know that. We know. It's only. I'm banking it, Ruby. If you thought yellow was it won't be the last. They won't be the last. They
No,
a
I
lot of
don't
these
think they'll be
companies.
the last.
A lot of these companies already know this shit is coming. Here's the thing: what a lot of these companies already know this shit is coming. The problem is, um, some people don't want to realize um, that the sun is coming down on their shit. Like sooner or later, you got to come out, or you sooner or later your shit's gonna end. Nah, it's gonna go on forever. Okay, okay. I saw the video with the guy at Motor City saying, "Hey guys, I think it'd be best y'all start finding other work." Do you think those people at Detroit listened? I mean, you had to realize the machine that you were building was going to be your replacement at some point. Okay, so you stayed, and guess what? Shit happened.
All them
Shit
GM and
happened.
Ford plants, they seen all that machinery in there slowly doing their fucking jobs, man. Like they wasn't fucking stupid. Like, listen, I lost a lot of fucking money from GM and Ford when they closed down the Lordstown plant. When they closed down, that's Ohio. They closed down the actual Vandalia plant. When they closed down most of Sharonville outside of fucking Cincinnati. When they shut down the brake factory in Dry Ridge, Kentucky. It was like all along that I-75, I-65 corridor, all that shit started shutting down. But they already had the machines in there to fucking do the shit for you.
Yep,
They was running
that
at
shit
like
was coming.
1% fucking speed. 1% speed. And then all of a sudden, that shit came online. That shit was moving fast as fuck. And it's like, it wasn't like it's not something that's meant forever, and you're going to have to find some more skills and another job. And a lot of people got their huge payout, and now they're quote unquote on disability. That's kind of what they do. They go to a doctor, claim that they got problems, then they get on disability, and then they just complain about the days of future past. They do. So
And see, right there, and that's where somebody will insert a wall conversation
yes, because it
because then
all
there
becomes women's fault after that. Everything becomes women's fault after that. I would have had this. I would have had a better life. It's no different than the dudes claiming that, you know what, if it wasn't for that goddamn crime bill, I could have sold as much poison as I fucking wanted.
if they
Like,
hadn't voted
what
for
the?
that '94 crime bill, fuck.
Yeah, I could have been a drug kingpin by now. I'm like, but you're selling poison to your own people. Doesn't matter. I was affected. It's like, whoa. There was people's minds are gone. And everything becomes, you know what? Let's balkanize the conversation and let's just redirect it on women rather than solve the problems in our own life. This is why dude, like I've heard people who talk about women like decades ago out of my fucking life because I seen what this shit was at. They didn't want to problem solve permanently. They wanted to problem solve temporarily, or they wanted to do enough to get into X. That's going to cause the same problem. So once you just separate yourself from all those people and you're willing to do business without quote unquote just black people, you'll be fine.
This is why I worry about the wall narrative because it's a get out of jail talking point of
It is.
accountability. That's why I said it never it's a conversation that should have never existed that doesn't exist because you're using well these women are choosing this guy, and if this hadn't happened then we would have been the ones who were chosen. If Pookie would have been here, then the women would see me as a good guy.
That's all I was going to say, actually, though, is that
What?
before they were really talking about the walls, it was Pookie and Ray Ray versus the educated Lane, right? And so it was like,
Which is the
okay,
same argument. Same
it's the
argument.
same argument. That's what I mean. Like, it doesn't matter what label you put on it. The argument is very repetitive feeling because it doesn't matter. They keep changing the labels, and then every 5, 10 years they change the labels, and then they just have the same discussion they had 5, 10 years ago. And then before that, it was the same discussion that was on the Man Show. And then before that, the same discussion that was on Married with Children. And then before, like, it's the same shit over and over and over again, right? Like, it's not different. Even it doesn't matter what different labels are put onto it, new terminology. It's just the same repetitive bullshit. And we know what it is because we know it was created on purpose, right? It was created because otherwise, all the incel type men, and I'm not even talking about like black people, I'm talking about white people, right? Incel type men couldn't get women, right? These constraints you put on women where you make them very, very small and very, very limited gave more men access to a woman, right? And more men having a wife and access to sex um, had less people wanting to shoot up schools. Seriously, I'm not even kidding. This is literally what it is. Right? And now that women don't need men, like because they can get their own bank accounts, they get their own jobs, they can get whatever. To that, in essence, women aren't forced into marrying any old person who would take them. Right? Well, what do? You've got to beat down people's self-esteem. You've got to limit them in every way possibly to beat down, because otherwise she's not going to choose someone that's lesser than her, lower than her, lower than her expectation. She's not going to do it ever. Right? So in essence, they're just trying to do the same thing that the laws used to do. The laws that didn't allow women to open a bank account, didn't allow her to own property, didn't allow her to this, didn't allow her to drive, right? They're just trying to do the same thing, but like with psychological warfare instead. And so, like, that's why I guess to me, I'm like, no, I don't think that the specific discussion acknowledging this reality of aging, I don't think that that is holding people back, because the thing that's really holding people back is this issue where we're refusing to stop and recognize, wait a minute, we have a large segment of the male population that is so socially awkward and really cannot function that we would have to force women out of having any rights of their own in order for them to get wives. That's kind of fucked up. Maybe we should do something about that. Like, maybe we should help that segment of men. Like, actually help them for real. Not like this bullshit way of helping them, but really help them. Maybe there should be courses like, you could take like kind of like training courses, like they used to have manners courses and crap for women back in the days. Maybe they should have that for men so that they can learn some of these things, and then it won't be so hard for them to speak to women and pick up a woman and, I don't know, maybe get a wife. And then we won't have to worry about this thing. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. That's the way I see it. I think the thing that's holding us back is not looking at the real problem and then finding a real solution for that problem.
Yeah, but they're not trying to move toward a solution. They want to stay in this limbo zone, which is what the manosphere's turned into, a limbo zone, where
True.
dudes who failed in life can talk to other dudes who have no experience in life about how to have experience in life. Okay. All right.
I'm gonna clip that. That's okay. That's perfect. That's perfect phrasing.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good. Men who fail to like want to speak to men with no experience. No, it's so true. It is so true. Wow.
It is. It is. When I tell people, and I try to show them people. You'll never see a dating coach in the field actually dealing with people. You've never seen any of them actually deal with people. They just pop a girl right by them and put her on a camera and say, "My book works. Buy it." But they'll never tell you. They'll never see them in the field of actual life. The same way as a lot of these motherfuckers, they talk about nobody's advocating for men. And I'll be like, well, what state are you in? What policy are you for? What politician do you are you behind? What are you talking about? Listen, do you not know what's going on in the
It's
family?
even easier than that. Ask them what do they mean by representation, and
I,
just
I,
Mm.
walk away from the conversation. Because
I don't
immediately
think
they're gonna go into complaining about women and the stats and how come they can't get no ass, and that's when you know you're dealing with somebody you can't help.
It's weird. It doesn't matter
Yeah.
what you bring up. It doesn't. It doesn't matter what conversation you're
It
having. It always goes
redirects
back to
back
that.
towards women. It redirects back toward women. And that's why they're here in the first place. They're here to get their shit off about this motherfucking woman. And they will pay anybody, apparently, to listen to them talk about this one specific subject. And it's like, once you get that, well, I'm telling you, that none of these dudes have gotten to a woman as an actual consequence of having this so-called knowledge. But the point is, it makes you, it gives you the exact opposite of what you want. You went to the fear and
Mhm.
insecurities aisle when you're supposed to be problem solving and answer aisle. Now
Right.
you're galvanizing other people's fear, insecurities, and being upset. So now you have to go in on some random black woman number 375 for fucking TikTok enjoying her life of infinite dick. And you're like, look at that. Infinite dick didn't work for her. If only she would have picked me, she would be happier. And it's like, all right, man. Just step back. Evolution has done its job. She has no more eggs. You have half the fucking sperm that cannot get to the egg. I think we won here. I think we
But
fucking won.
you know what I think
Go
was
ahead.
interesting? I was watching what's it called? Millionaire Matchmaker. That's what I'm watching. So this is a show that was from 2008 to 2016 or so. I'm watching the really early season. So this is 2008. And some of these exact same talking points are coming out of like some of the suitors, either a few of the millionaires, but mostly like the men that get chosen in the dating pools, right? And they're saying these things, and I'm like, it existed that far back. Like I don't know how I missed it in 2008. I didn't know we had these kind of thought processes going that far back because I did think there was a fair amount of internet that kind of corrupted the group, but it seems as though people have been talking about this or like this, at least in small groups, and kind of pushing these ideologies onto each other. This idea that no, women would never choose a man like me, right? She would never choose the good guy. She only chooses those losers who want to treat her like shit. Like this one guy was talking about how he's writing romance novels because he realized that women don't want to hear about the nice romantic guy. They want to hear about the guy who treats them like shit. It's like, wait, what? This is who told you that in 2008? Where are you getting that from? But
Yeah.
it's been common thought, I guess. I don't know. I don't know where they got it from before, like YouTube, social media, like, but they've been pushing that narrative for a long time,
Like I
and I don't
said,
know why they don't want to let it go.
like I said, a lack of accomplishment in life will turn into complaints about women. That's what it's there for. It's literally there to give you all the answers to your problems to redirect it on somebody that can't be helped. Just like poor whites. It wasn't the fact that you couldn't skill up and move to another city. It was the fact that your city packed up and went to Mexico, and it's those goddamn blacks who are responsible for you not being able to retire in your small ass city where you went to high school at. It's the same
Hmm.
shit. They're just running that type of game on the entire culture of men rather than just corporations and news companies doing it to white people in rural areas. It's the same fucking strategy that don't actually lead to any results.
Nope. But then they still push it. You know what I think is surprising? The
Look,
majority of men figure out it's bullshit, and so they leave because eventually they get a woman, and then they leave. But a bunch of men stay,
yeah,
and they
they
still push the
disappear.
same bullshit, even though they have women. Like what? Hmm?
They disappear the moment that they
Mhm.
find something that they can be with. They disappear. That
Exactly.
was always the actual answer in the first place. Because if you have
Right.
your answer and if you have your solution already, why the fuck would you want to be around a bunch of people who haven't found the solution already?
I don't know. I ask myself that all the time. I don't know what keeps bringing me. Actually, honestly, that's why I stopped. That's really why I stopped because it wasn't quite like this. But I'm like, it was just so unfulfilling. So I'm like, I'm trying to speak to people, but I'm like, I'm married, right? So to speak like to unmarried people is fine. That's fine, you know, or ideologically opposed, that's fine. But like I'm listening to people tell me about marriage, about relationships, about how to be successful in them, and I'm like, how would you know? You've never been successful in a relationship for any amount of time. So how are you telling me how wrong I am? Or at least I'm using my life experience and saying, hey, the other married people in the chat or on the panel are agreeing with me because you know it's a generalized thing. It's like, no, you're a boss because your YouTube daddy told you so, and your YouTube daddy also not married, also doesn't even have a long-term girlfriend. Like, what are you talking about? Why are these people gods now? Why are we not uplifting as gods people who have what we want? Like, I feel like that's one thing that got really twisted. That it used to be that the people got lifted up like gods if they had what we wanted. Now you can get lifted up as a god and have nothing, literally nothing. All you are, you just talk a good game. You don't have the women, you don't have the money, you don't have the cars, you don't have the anything. You have nothing, and it's
It's
fine. You're a god.
unfortunately, it's like the travel channels. The travel
Mm-hmm.
channels who about the productivity and staying the fuck out of shit, no support whatsoever. The moment you combine travel channels with complaining about women, tons of fucking support. Do you realize if you go over there and you still complain about your previous fucking environment that you've never really left? And that's another thing. Like people don't want to be told to shut the fuck up. Look, dude, listen. If you're going to pick this woman from this environment, you gotta shut the fuck up and you gotta just pick her. They don't want to be told that shit. They want to be told that everything is fine and you don't have a problem and problem's her. Okay, problem her wants to go to a different her. Nah, I don't want to do that. I'm kind of comfortable complaining about her. Yeah, I mean, you're going to have these people and they're just fine with the way they're at. Make sure that they don't have to get access to firearms, and I think we'll be okay. But right now,
Mm.
there is a rise, a sheer rise of people from rural areas taking over these menial jobs that Latinos used to do. And they're completely happy with being at the bottom. This shit ain't that supreme that they actually see as supreme. At the end of the day, right now, it's going to the people who want to skill up. Regardless, it's all about effort at this point. It's all about effort and location and where you put yourself and assertiveness. They don't want to hear those simple answers to shit because it doesn't have complaining about women as being part of the answer. There's no rest area. You're not going to be complaining about women in this rest area while you go get your shit together. But you know, you may end up giving it all to her at the end of the day. It still may end up losing it, but still, it's that's your choice. Just like it's your choice to get your shit together.
True.
I mean, but it's hard when you have people who don't have problem solving skills, and I have to work on people for fucking years. I got people who disagree with me for years, come back and like, man, look, as soon as I got me a career, as soon as I was able to go on a few trips, and I'm not talking about overseas. Just like the moment I was able to just not work 40 hours, not work 50, 60 hours a week at a high stress, low wage job, it changed my whole outlook on shit. And I'm like, yep. Then your complaints about women go away the moment that you had money to have fun. Yeah, like yeah, that's the whole fucking point. The whole point was to take your upset life, redirect it on women, and not get you to the fucking money. That's why none of these people are about getting to the money. You get to the money, you go travel and see shit, you'll see that this shit is nearly the same everywhere. Nearly the fucking same. And some environments you're going to appeal to, and some environments you fucking won't. But at the end of the day, you up your options and choices with experience. You don't up your options and choices with inexperience and listening to fucking losers who who, who have not ever been um, successful at it. B.M.T, you there? Because our class Ruben just dropped down. B.M.T, you still there? Oh, so let me call him.
No, I'm right here. Sorry about
Oh,
that. Took the dog out. I was right here. I try to. I see. It says people are downstairs. But here's the thing. Here's the thing about it. Why to waste your time? And I said earlier before you got here that the conversation is a deviation of trying to shame people into a narrative of bullshit. Nah, bro. I'm
deviation
like,
from taking direct action. It's a
here.
deviation from taking direct action. That's all it is.
So here's the thing about it. So the reason why, but I told y'all, a man you're going to choose just like a woman is going to choose. The wall conversation is that of taking away choice. That you have to go with what they want with their narrative to shame you into that of a perceived perception of their reality. So if those people don't go alongside with you in your bullshit, then they're wrong. Then they're wrong. And you have to ask the question, why? Why is that? Why is that? But see, I get y'all saying, well, no, 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 no. I'm telling you, man, it's always that, man. Well, why do they need to vote? Why do they have to do this? Why do they got to do that? And I'm like, where does this? Do y'all see how dangerous and stupid it has gotten now?
Trying to understand everybody else's free choice.
Exactly.
That's all it is. Why are they so free and happy? Because they exercise free choice. How can I be free and happy exercising free choice? Nah, I'd rather stay and complain about this woman. All right?
Mm. I try to tell y'all, man. At this point, and see, at this point, y'all going, it's gonna pass off to other things, other groups. When this election comes, bet I'm gonna have this conversation revisited when it
They're not
comes
going to
time.
participate. They're not going to participate. They're just going to use that as leverage to complain about more and more shit. Because complaining is the answer. They just
Okay,
redirecting
that
it
that's
onto everything is the answer.
that is fine, bro. All I'm saying is the elections are coming up around the corner. That wall shit is not going to work. It's just not. The minute they start changing it into, well, the women are going to do this, or Stacey Abrams that, or this and that, and I'm like, and there we go. We're here. We're here. This is where exactly the common sense has left. I'm trying to tell y'all, man. Trying to use that. No, I don't. But well, I mean, it's about control. That's why. That's why this space is in a dire situation more than what it ever should have been. I don't know. Maybe I'm saying too much, but this is why I said the wall concept never existed. It should have just never existed. I mean, y'all can we can keep on.
Empty
Go
rhetoric
ahead.
that never led to direct action. That's all it is. It was to distract you. Watch a whole bunch of time go past, and then have your complaints rather than being pointed at self to redirect it onto somebody else. Redirected anger, redirected rage. That's all it is at this point. All this shit so that way a few people can sit atop of this fucking mountain while everybody else is suffer going up and down the mountain. Hey, really, it really helped that. But as long as you can point it out to people and those are going to take action, the simple action that it needs to be taken, they'll take it. But the people will still be complaining about women tomorrow. I mean, I was looking at a PhD's panel yesterday, and he tried to have a productive conversation but couldn't do it. It had to come back to complaints about women again. And the moment he started complaining about women and acting all stupid on the panel, that's when the money came in. when he was complaining about bitches. So that's what these dudes are on, man. You gotta leave these Manspare cab drivers alone, man. CAB, complain about bitches. Help me get my shit off about this woman. Go in on this woman so I can feel better about myself. It's fucking stupid.
I'm trying to tell y'all right now, man. When it comes to that, the men and the women, but don't worry, there are women doing it too. There are women going around telling the
Oh
women.
yeah, yeah.
So I don't want y'all to think that it's just the men.
You got the Shira Sevens, the High Power Podcast. You got women who do the same shit, the exact same shit. Yeah, that's where we at, man. Dude, this shit is
I think
soft.
that's
Like
the thing.
easy
I
salt.
think. Well, see, that's the thing about it. That's at this point we have to let the earth or society terraform and collapse.
Yeah,
I know a lot of people may not agree with that, but we're now at the point where we have to let itself collapse.
these men who cannot produce, they have. I'm not going out there and personally destroying them. You have to leave them to their own devices. They can't reproduce. That's fucking great. The women that they want can no longer have kids, which is also fucking great. Yeah, man, this shit's gonna die out. It's gonna take 40, 50 years to die the fuck out. But at the end of the day, we're overall gonna be better for it. How are you going to want to be with a person like like the younger individuals? They lived through this already. The older individuals want to live through it. The younger individual was raised in a circumstance. The older individuals want to live through this circumstance with them at this point. They do.
I've seen it.
And you can't,
Whereas
you
too,
can't help
I've
nobody in this
seen.
circumstance.
Well, see, that's a very interesting talking point. Women shouldn't be able to vote. Who gives a vote for a woman?
Because they want to restrict everyone else's choices if they can't compete. It's the same shit that they did with rural whites. Well, those black people are voting. They're gonna make us pay taxes so that way we can take care of them. Like, yeah, that's what you're supposed to do in society. People with money are supposed to pay taxes for the people who and if you're doing it right, no one's paying that marginal fucking tax rate that's that high. No one has. Al Gore didn't. Bill Clinton did it. Barack Obama didn't. Donald Trump definitely didn't. So what are we talking about here? And most of the money that they get is federal money or from federal sources or using these government programs to enrich themselves like everybody else. Man, just learn the rules of the game, then play the game better than everybody else. Famous quote by Albert Einstein. But we have something else going on, which is the opposite. Avoid the rules of the game and don't participate like everyone else. Yeah, leave them out there, man. They can't produce. Just make sure that they can't get a weapon to go shoot up a school quickly. And I think we'll be all right. And here's the thing: I predicted all this. I predicted
Speak
all
on
this
it.
3 years ago this month. I'm gonna show you two actual pre-records because I talked about Manosphere 4.0, not the Kevin Samuels shit, but I talked about Manosphere 4.0. The worst parts of Black America are going to come together to just talk about women and drown out every other voice. And then I talked about the Take Me As I Am person. Same shit. Same person doing the same fucking thing. Dude, I already foretold this shit a long time ago. It was always going to be. It was nearly impossible that this shit wasn't going to end up this way. As soon as I seen the dating coach get here, I'm like, oh shit. We're inviting all the worst type of ill-formed men into this fucking space that we're doing it on purpose. Or they're doing it on purpose. All right, man. Well, I got to go fix this radiator, man. That's why I'm up early this morning. Let me get up out of here, B.M.T. B.M.T., wake up, man.
Huh?
Yeah. Yeah, man. Close the show down, man. I'm about to roll out.
All right, I'm going to bed.
Yeah. All right, cool, man.